2, 1. We are on air.
So, hello everyone, welcome to CodeX YouTube channel. So, this is first one of a kind series where we learn a Spring Boot topic with the core team. So, no one is so expert here. We are just learning together and trying to overcome the obstacles that we face while learning it. Okay. So, if you have any doubts, you can message us in the chat box itself. And leading us is our host Jaideep, the founder of CodeX, and joining me is the core team of CodeX along with Puneet, the tech admin. And once again, I'm Sai Santosh, the non-tech admin. So today, basically, we are trying to work on the Twitter or recently known as X uh, project. Okay, guys.
Okay, okay, that was good, right? Given that that's your first time introducing. Okay, so what are we here for? Spring Boot. Okay, so yeah, like Santosh told, we are from CodeX. Everybody in this video is from CodeX. So to the people out there who just randomly, came across this video, so we are a club at a college called Geetham. Okay, so we do all stuff that we geek out. So we do a lot of coding contests, we do workshops, we do boring shows like these. So this is a boring show. Okay. So what's a boring show? A show that is so bored. Okay. So yeah, we ripped off this idea from Google's Flutter boring show. So in this boring show, we sort of have an idea where we try to build this idea. Okay, it could be something that a project that you want to build, or it could be a technology that you want to learn. So we do it like a cohort, and there is no pre-preparation, so that if you get stuck during the process of this particular boring show, you would know how we get out of that, or at least how are we going to try getting out of those situations. So today we'll be going through Spring Boot. Okay. So Spring Boot, what's Spring Boot? So anybody from the audience, so you guys know what Spring Boot? Come on, throw some punches. I want to hear out what's Spring Boot. What do you guys know about Spring Boot?
So, is Spring Boot a backend framework?
Okay, what's a backend framework other than you? Anybody? So anybody who wants to tell like what's a backend framework? Nikita, Lohita. No, it's okay. You can just guess. You don't have to mute yourself and think. Is that backend framework definition correct or something? You just let me know what do you think about that particular term. I'll help you out. So the reason why I'm asking you guys is I need to know where you guys are standing so that I can pick it up from there. So okay, let me pick one person. So uh, Lohita, are you there?
Yeah,
Cool. So what do you know about a backend framework?
a backend framework in the sense it is a framework which provide a set of tools for web applications or
Okay, okay.
yeah,
Anything else?
that's it. I know that. No, I don't have more
You
idea
are
about backend.
Yeah. So you're correct. Okay. So
Okay.
it's a framework that gives you tools to do stuff. Correct. What's a framework? It will give you some tools so
Yeah.
that you can do some stuff. What is the stuff that you're doing here is we are trying to develop a web application. So Spring Boot is a framework. It will give you tools that will help you develop web application or a web API or a streaming service, however you want to put it. So it's a backend framework. So to explain you the origin of Spring Boot, so Spring is the parent framework, which was like really famous. So Spring Boot is an. Can you guys see my screen? Just confirming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I can see
visible.
the. Yeah, cool. So as you can see, I have got myself. I've brought some pretty stuff here. So history of Spring Boot. So Spring Boot first got originated from a framework called a Spring. Okay, so Spring is like a parent thing out of which Spring Boot was derived. Cool. So this is a framework. It's written in Java. Okay, you have tried it in Java, where if you remember, in Java you have something called as servlets, all those stuff. So Spring is just a thing which brings in all of those tools to help you. It'll help you in assisting developing the web applications. Okay, so Spring is the parent project. So what happened was Netflix was using Spring, so they internally had they were using Spring, and they saw a few difficulties which Spring was giving. So you had to do a lot of manual uh, configuration, XML configuration, which was really difficult. So if there's anything that you guys are not understanding right now, it's okay. I'm just brushing through the history of how Spring Boot came into picture. Okay. So Netflix, what it did was, so it took the Spring framework internally. They added a few features onto it because it's open source. They can do it on their own. So for their services internally, they have added a few features to the Spring. And at a point, they understood that whatever tool they're using to build web applications or backend services, it's not Spring. It's something that is completely different. So they realized that we should probably give back to the community. So what happened was they released a very basic version of whatever they're using to the community, and that became Spring Boot. So Spring Boot is a really great framework for writing backend applications, primarily in Java. That will really help you a lot because the features that it is providing is really great. Because Spring Boot is coming from a organization that is building quite a complex products by themselves. Cool. I think everybody can agree here of what Netflix does. So uh, so they have built Spring Boot in such a way that they understand the problems that a developer that a developer feels. So yeah, they've really thought from our position, and they've added all a hell lot of features. So today what we'll be doing here is, so we'll be exploring the Spring Boot. I'll be giving you an overview of how to get started. Okay, we'll not be obviously jumping in and exploring everything, but I'll be giving a head start of how to get started, how to do basic CRUD application. So today we will be building a Twitter clone. Okay, because what's trending? Elon Musk, X.com. So let's call it Twitter. Cool. So we'll be building this. Okay. So till here, any of you have any doubts, or if you have need to know anything more about little history of Spring Boot, I'll just help you out, or give me a thumbs up so that I can continue. Yeah, Santosh, you
Like
have
what
some
are
doubt?
what are the prerequisites for learning this?
Oh yes. Okay, so yeah, I've got myself here. I've done a document here. So the prerequisites to learn Spring Boot is that obviously you have to be really comfortable with Java, all the OOPS concept. By Java, I mean all the basics that a language is providing. How do you write all the basic syntax, and then OOPS concept. So you need to be really comfortable with this, and then you need to also know that OOPS concept. So okay, let's do an interview. So anybody who wants to tell me what are the OOPS concept that Java is providing? The object-oriented concepts or features. Come on, you must have studied it in your academic.
Inheritance,
Okay, inheritance only that. Come on, dude, continue.
abstraction,
Okay, yeah,
encapsulation.
okay,
And one more thing is that I forgot.
yeah, you have
Polymorphism.
polymorphism. So I'll bet you when I was learning, I had in my second sem dedicated to Java. Okay, it was dedicated to Java. So I had a full course dedicated to Java in my second semester. So I had no freaking clue what were those concepts, where are we going to use it. But see, the programming, it's really is a little bit confusing until and unless you apply it. So what happened was I came back. So I got an opportunity at a company which required me to develop projects in Spring Boot. So I had a little bias. Okay, so I'm more like a JavaScript TypeScript person. So I don't want to deal with primitive languages. That's what my uh, insight was that time. I was a little blindfolded by my biasness towards JavaScript and TypeScript frameworks. So I was really not ready. I was like, yeah, who will do it with Java, man? It's my grandfather's language. Why will I pick that up? So I had this sort of perspective towards this. So anybody else who shared the same one right now, and you're in this meeting, you're like, why is this dude teaching Java, SpringBoot? It's a very old language. Anybody? Nobody? Okay, that's nice. So I'm sure you guys are lying, okay, because Java is a primitive language, right? Okay, so what really happened was that Java is very verbose, as we know. It has a class. You need to write just for a hello world program. You need to write a class method and all, and it comes up with a lot of terms which I think Punit's friend just mentioned. A lot of terms that we know what it is, but we have no clue how that comes handy in the code. So believe me or not, when you're doing Spring Boot, when you're developing Spring Boot applications, all these concepts comes in handy. You will understand what you're doing, because this is a product that you're building. So until and unless you build a product by your own, you won't be able to understand what it's trying to teach you. So all the nitty-gritty OOPS concept, we will learn it when developing the Spring Boot application. Okay, I may not get the names correct, but you guys know what are those definitions. So whenever I'm like explaining yourself, you have to point out, okay, this is polymorphism, okay, this is inheritance. Okay, cool. Now so you also need Docker. So Docker is necessary because we want to so we'll be building a simple CRUD applications, and the application that we're building is Twitter, correct? So we need some sort of databases to store our tweets, users, and all that stuff. So we need a database. So Docker is the easiest way to spin up a database with the required one. So I have the command here. Okay, so I will just share the command in chat. Admin can share that in YouTube chat. So make sure you have. Okay, should admin copy it? Copy. So you just have to run this command, and you need to have Docker installed in your system. And next, the last one, you need to have a idea of how SQL databases work. What are tables? What are columns? What are rows? What is one-to-one relationship? What is one-to-many relationship? So all this you need to have a good idea, so that you need to know. So anybody who has come across this DBMS course in your curriculum or externally, you have learned it. Anybody?
Yeah, we have currently in third year, and
Okay,
I'm going through previous concepts now.
Okay, great. So so learning DBMS as a whole can be segregated into different series itself, because it's so dense, it has a lot of features to cover. So, but we will be touching upon little nitty-gritty details. But if you come across some term that you feel like it's what is this guy speaking gibberish, then just note it down, okay? And you can search at Google, so you'll understand. So just see, all this collaboration is about, I'll tell you, the only thing that's going to pay you out is that everybody will speak something, so you'll hear new terms. Just note those terms out, go back and Google it, like what does this term mean, what does that term mean, so that you'll get exposure of what things are existing out there. Okay, cool. So let's get to business now. I hope that you've run the command. Okay, I'll be happy if you could start coding this parallelly with me, or if not like that also, I'm happy. Okay, no harm. Cool. So we have the command here. Okay, so once you run this command, if you pull up your Docker thing, let me just pull up. So yeah, if you open your Docker desktop and go to your containers, okay, and you'll find this executor DB, up and running. So let's go and inspect this. Okay, you go inspect. So the username I've given as Jaideep. So whenever you're trying to log in, you're trying to access the database or connect to database, you need to provide some sort of basic authentication. Okay, so we have created a user called Jaideep, and his password is password. a no-brainer. And that we have created a default database with the name of Twitter, obviously, because we are crazy. And yeah, so we have did some volume mounting. So all this is like Docker specific, but you guys really don't have to worry about that. Just run this, make sure that the green thing, you can see the containers in green. When you go to your containers, you see XwitterDB with green color stuff running. If you go inside, the last comment should be that PostgreSQL init process completed, ready for startup. Okay, shit, not this. Yeah, you'll see something like this. Okay. So yeah, if you see something like this, you're good to go. If someone is not able to recreate this, I'll help you out. So yeah, what we have done till now, we went through. So I just gave you guys the reason why. Yeah.
Your screen is paused.
Screen is paused.
Yeah, means you're still in the task view button.
Okay, there may be some glitch. Yeah, thanks for letting me know, dude. Oh, can you see? Can you see now?
Yeah, we can. Means can you cover from after opening the Docker?
Yeah, I've just opened this Docker desktop. Okay, you will probably be here. Okay, you have to navigate to containers, and here you will find XwitterDB. After running this command, you will find the XwitterDB container that's running. If it's in green color, good to go. You have completed the step. Check mark that. So yeah, till here, if anybody is having any problem, I'll help you assist you. Anybody? Ready?
No, not.
Okay, so let's go to the official documentation, and you guys need to get really comfortable on how to read documentation. Okay, so before that, I'll just give you an overview of what is backend, what is front end. So earlier days, so who uses this SpringBoot specifically? So any fintech company that is out there, it's 90% sure that they're going to use SpringBoot, because fintech companies are from a long time, so they've been around for a long time. So whenever a new technology that comes in, it's going to be the fintech industry that is going to disrupt. Blockchain came into picture, Bitcoin came, correct? Internet came into picture, we had online banking. So Java was the first, one of the first technologies that was really popular during very early times. So what is happening is that because Java was the first technology that sort of broke barriers, everybody picked it up from the fintech company, and also it provides some features, the security, all that stuff, and those are the reasons why a lot of fintech companies love Java and Java frameworks. So yeah, that's why you'll see a lot of fintech companies who will be using Spring Boot. Cool. So now Spring Boot is a backend framework. Okay, it can you can build the web application with that. So what happens is that, let's say I have a browser. Okay, shit, that's not a browser. So let's say this is my browser, and I have this user who is like trying to access my website. So I have a server on which I have hosted my database, and I have my Spring Boot service. I'm just running my Spring Boot there. So what happens is that, just assume this is a leaf, and this is my Spring Boot service, which is running on port, let's say 8080 on the server. So what happens is that my guy, let's say, is trying to access twitter.com. So when he hits twitter.com, twitter.com will be resolved into an IP address. Something is to some port 8080. Cool. Now this IP address will point to this particular system, and this 8080 port will point to this particular service. that we're running on my server. So what happens is that, let's say you have just hit twitter.com/. So what is this request? So it's a default GET request whenever you do a browser call. So what happens is that I have written some code. Okay, I have mapped that. Let's say if someone calls twitter.com/, then I will trigger that code. That code, what it will do, it will execute some stuff. Let's just keep it as a black box. It will execute something, and it will return you a HTML file that is rendered on your browser. So anybody knows what this name is? This sort of rendering technique called? Front-end guys, you should obviously know this.
API call.
Yeah, no, dude, no, it's a API call, but yeah. So it's a rendering technique, server side rendering. Yeah, that's how it happens. So we have two things, right? We have client side rendering, client side, and we have server side. So what happens is that in client side rendering, you have your server running some code. When your client hits that particular endpoint, you give JavaScript bundles. So you give JavaScript code to your browser, so that when the browser will get the JavaScript code back, it will build a HTML file on the client side. Okay, but when you opt for server side, what happens is that we will run some code that would generate the HTML file and send it to my client side. So this is the difference between a client side rendering and server side rendering. So what are the examples for client side rendering? React. So it's a very classic example. React is a library that will help you do client side rendering. And what is the example for server side rendering? So you'll have
Next.js.
yeah, and you have Spring Boot also. So we have the option to render HTML on the server and send it back to browser. We have Django also, which you can do it as a server side rendering. So can you guys guess what sort of rendering is used by bank applications? You go to HDFC net banking or SBI net banking. What is that? What is it used? Do you think it's client side rendering or server side rendering?
Definitely server side rendering.
Why? Why can't I? Why couldn't it be client side?
If you put all your JavaScript on your client browser, will they get access to it?
Yes. I mean,
So
it'll be jumbled, but still, yeah, they can do reverse engineering if they want.
yeah, so that they can hack or penetrate.
Yeah. So you give a lot of control to your user to do. So bank applications keep a lot of control to their servers, so that they don't have to worry about many scenarios where the user is trying to do something. Okay. So with Spring Boot, you can do server side rendering, and now you might connect dots that why banks are using Spring Boot and all. First thing, it's there for a long time. Second thing, it's used by a lot of legacy banks. Third thing, it gives you server side rendering. Okay, so that's my gentle introduction towards how backend, front end, everything works. So are we going to write HTML code? No, hell no, because I don't like writing HTML code because I'm very bad at it. We will write just API calls that probably some sort of a framework or some front-end client can utilize it. Okay, so let's go back to docs. So till here, anybody is having any doubt? Anybody?
None from my side.
Okay, cool. So this is the official docs to Spring Boot. I'll tell it's really nice. You have to refer this out. Okay. So let's get into documentation overview. Okay, what and all is there? So we have getting started. So we have getting started section, and we have documentation for developing with Spring Boot. We have what are the core features. We have web So there's a lot of things. We will go one by one. Okay. So I'll tell you one thing. So if you want to start a Spring Boot project, you have to come to this website. So this is something called as a Spring Initializer. Okay. So Spring Initializer, you set what sort of default settings you want in your project. Hit export. It will give you all the code. It is that simple. So it will just have, so every project, you'll have some sort of boilerplate code that needs to be done in order to get started. So this is one website where you can go ahead, do your own config and download it. Cool. Okay. Now project. So we have different sections. I'll explain you everything one by one. So first and foremost, we have a project. Okay. This is something called as a project manager tools. We will come back to that. This is a language. Which language will be using primarily to develop Spring Boot. So you can do it in Java, you can do it in Kotlin, you can do it in Groovy. Okay, these are 3 languages in which you can code your Spring Boot application. So in this session, we'll be only continuing in Java, but no harm in doing it in Kotlin or Groovy. And what Spring Boot version do you want to use? Okay, so 3.1.2 is, I think, is the latest stable version. So all those are, I think, it's a early build. So yeah, and your metadata. So this metadata is just so as soon as we download the code and open it up in our IntelliJ, we'll understand how this metadata is going to affect us. Okay, and packaging. So it's a jar or war file. So what happens is that in right, how Java files are executed. How?
Could you repeat again?
How Java code is executed. So if you want to execute something on Windows, you'll need .exe.
.java C.
So that is compiling. But how would you run?
I will run the class, Java class.
Yeah, you'll Java. Is it Java and flash file? I forgot.
Yeah, Java.
Name
Yes,
dot
class
Java.
file.
Yeah, class file. It's a class file.
Yeah. So you'll do that. Correct. What if you have more than one class?
Package.
How do you package it? So you package it in a jar or war file. Okay. It's how you package your whole code. So in that code, you will have all the class files necessary so that your JVM can run it on any platform. So that's the magic which Java gives you. But if you are using some other language, then you have to do exe build for Windows, and then app build for Mac OS, and then for some executable for Unix-based systems. I can't remember. Yeah, so you need to do different builds for different operating systems. Since JVM has abstracted out the layer of execution on every operating system, it's really easy. So that's why we are selecting how do you want to package it. So let's go with jar. That's what I've been doing. Okay, now getting back to project managing tools. So you have Gradle and then you have Maven. Okay, so these are 2 tools which will help you manage your project. So simply put, if you have already done some sort of JavaScript JavaScript project, you have something called as NPM, Node Package Manager. So this Node Package Manager will help you resolve dependencies. Yes, there are like plethora of open source libraries out there which you can use. If you're trying to do something already, I'm damn sure 99% of the time it is already done and it's in open source. That's the beauty of open source. So why reinvent the wheel when it's already done? Okay, you don't have to do it. Correct. So you will use it as a dependency. So your project will depend on that. Let's suppose you want to write an email. Every time someone tweets, let's say I love Anushka Shetty. Okay, I want to see her tweets every time she posts one. So I'll hit the bell icon or something in our Twitter application. Okay. So what we can do is we need a way to send emails. Correct. Whenever Anushka posts something, so you want to send it to me. How will you do that? You need to again figure out how do you send emails through code. how do you write? So there's a default port in every system through which emails are gone. Correct. What's that port, dude? Correct. Anybody else wants to tell? I forgot. What's the port? 182? I don't know. Okay, there's some port through which you will send. So you need to do all such configurations. It is something that is not at all related to your application. Our application is Twitter. You're going to build the next billion-dollar company. Why should I break my head on building an email sender thing? So what you can do is there is an open source dependency available for SpringBoot that will send emails for you. You just have to put it in your dependency and call the code in your code. So how are you going to manage all these dependencies? Because that open source guy, he has built that particular applications for an intent. For that, he will just upgrade the version. Let's suppose he will upgrade from 2.0 to 2.5, and he broke something. Like let's suppose he removed how you call send email, and he has done that enter email or something. He has changed the method name. Then it will be really difficult for us to every time upgrade comes, you have to go back, change it. So for that, what you do is you simply pick up dependency manager tool that will make sure that whatever dependency that you have depending on the first day will be the same. It will be the same dependency that will be downloaded every time you run it, regardless where you run it. So that is something that the Maven or Gradle assures you. So we'll be picking up Maven. Okay, language Java. We're going to pick 3.1.2. So let's just say I will do com.twitter. Okay, shit, this is com.twitter, and then I want to do thread. So let's say I want to do Twitter. I want to do a CRUD application. Yeah, that's all. Java, and I'll use 17. So just check that you have Java installed. So you can do Java version. So I have Java 17. So I'll select Java 17. Anything is fine. Now you have a lot of dependencies here. So you see, these are just like very minimum dependencies that is out there. If you go to Maven Central, so Maven Central. So you see these many projects are outsourced. It is open source, so you can add it to your project anytime. Okay, so we will go through that step by step. So what are we building? We are trying to build the API, right? So we need a web dependency, Spring Web, correct? And then we need data, Spring Data JPA. Then we need a PostgreSQL. So we will be using what are these three dependencies? You will understand it slowly. So we are building an API, that simple API. User will create a tweet, and user can reply to a tweet. Okay, and user can fetch tweets for all users. These are simple APIs that we are going to do. So for that, we need a way to understand how do you start a server. Okay, how do you listen to something, and how do you map your responses to your client. So all this stuff will be taken care of your Spring Web. Okay, so let me just rest. Yeah, that's one. And then you need a way to save the data whichever the client is giving to your database, correct? And we have a very very sleek, sexy dependency called Spring Data JPA. The moment you go look at that, you will be in love with that, the way I was. So also you need a driver that will help you communicate with the specific database that you're using. So we'll be using PostgreSQL. So that's why I've put this dependency. Okay, no talk. Let's go to. So I'm generating. I've clicked on generating. So this is our project structure. How it's going to be. Okay. So we have pom.xml. Okay. So this XML file is going to help your Maven to understand what sort of dependencies you have, what sort of how do you want to build your project, how do you want to run your project. So this is very specified. So this is XML is like a simple language. It is not that much complicated. It's a markup language. So all that we care about here is that where is it? Yes. So this is our website. We are building this feature. This is our version of the app. This is the name of the project that you're doing. This is a description, and then this is our version. So all this you don't have to worry. If you're trying to, let's say you're trying to change the Java version, just go Google how do I change my Java version in pom.xml. Come back, paste the code here. It is that simple. You don't have to break your head for this. And then here is the main part: dependencies. You see, in dependencies we have many dependencies here. This one dependency, this one more, this one more, this one more. Okay, so all these dependencies we'll go through one by one. Cool. And yeah, that's all. Now we have source. So this is where our code exists. Okay, this is like already pre-populated one. So yeah, enough stuff. Let's go and check it out in our local. Let me pull this here. So I have my this CRUD application. So what I'll do, I'll extract it here. Extract CRUD. So I'll cut this, paste it in any folder that you want to do. I will go ahead and I'll do it in my desktop. Paste it here. Okay, you go inside. You see, you have all the stuff that you want. Okay, now open your IntelliJ. So we'll be using IntelliJ. Okay, I think everybody to know what is IntelliJ. So I'm opening from my desktop. Okay, how do I go to my desktop now? Users, where is users? Users, maybe desktop, yeah, desktop, and then CRUD. I've selected it. Okay, now just put this up. Cool. So congratulations, you have just downloaded your first Spring Boot project and you've opened it up in your IntelliJ. Okay, and I will also be using one more software called Data Grip. Okay, you can see the Data Grip. That will help us, connect to our database, understand the queries, all that stuff. So how do you do it? This is optional, not that much required. So to just show you guys how Spring Boot is interacting with our database, I wanted to show you guys this one. So 0 password. You see all these details where I'm getting it from? It is from this one. So I gave you guys a command, right, to run it. So in that command, I've specified all the details that is required to connect. You see, what is the user? It's Jaideep. What is the password? Just the password I just typed there, believe me. And then what is a database that you want to connect to? Not Postgres, you want to connect to Jitter. Okay. And yeah, that's it. Let's just test the connection. What is the port? Yeah, it's 5400. So it's localhost. It's obviously running in my localhost. Click apply, click OK. So we have our database ready, up and running. Now we can do a lot of queries here. So if you see inside Twitter, inside public, we have nothing. Because we have not created anything yet. Okay. Now let's go into the Spring Boot application. So this is .idea folder is generated by my IntelliJ. Maven, you don't have to take care about that. And source. This is the main entry point for our application. We'll have all the code that is necessary inside our source. Okay. Now anything else that is present here, it is really not that much necessary other than pom.xml. Okay. So here you go. we have, so these are dependencies. So this is my dependency. Okay, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4 dependencies available. Now you remember we gave artifact ID, group ID, and
Jaideep, can you zoom in?
zoom in. Okay, how do I do it? Control Shift plus. I can't do it. How do I zoom in, bro?
Control plus.
Yeah, it's not working. Something that does not work on my system. Control plus. Text. Or I do zoom. Where zoom? Yeah, zoom. It is here. Oh shit! Is it? Can you guys see this now?
A little more.
Little more, bro. Okay. 100%. You want this one zoom?
Yes, fine. Because we are on the stream.
Hey, left all the icons are gone, man. This it is Alt Shift plus a whatever, man.
You can also do
So
control mouse scroll.
it's not happening for me. Is 150 okay? I think it will be decent.
Okay, cool.
Instead of zoom, I think I can increase the text size.
Yeah, that would be better.
Yeah, I'll zoom back to 110%. Okay, and I will. Sorry for this. I just like stuff small. So where is my text? Text. Where is text? Editor. Come on. Don't make it more longer. Appearance.
Editor, general, click on change font size on the general section.
Editor. General.
Change the font size there.
Where I can't see it now. Change the font size. Okay. Is this fine?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Okay, cool. So, yes, where was I? Yeah. Remember we gave here in the browser our group ID. Okay, where is it? Close? Yeah. So you see we gave a group ID, artifact ID, and the name. Correct? So if you see here, we have for the dependencies that we are using, for every dependency, we have a group ID, we have an artifact ID, we have a group ID and artifact ID. So if you think, you can ask me that, dude, you told that Maven is going to link all the dependencies on your project, but how the heck would it know which dependency you are using and what's the version? Okay, so first question, let's answer the first question. How does it know which dependency we're using? So you have to use the group ID and artifact ID, which will be unique for every project that is on Maven Central. Okay, if you want to publish, you have to create a new combination. So the group ID, so you see the group ID is same for all the SpringBoot dependencies. So this dependency is for talking to the database, and this dependency is for our REST APIs that we want to develop. Okay, and this dependency is going to write unit tests for our database. Sorry, for our SpringBoot code. Okay, and this is a normal driver code which is required to communicate with the PostgreSQL. So if you see, it's the same group ID for all the SpringBoot dependencies. So because it's coming from the same company, so we are Twitter.com. So I put com.twitter.com because if the website URL you are owning that, it's going to be unique for every other organization, right? And the artifact ID just tells you what project you're using inside your organization. So that if we are going to have, let's suppose I write a service called com.twitter and my artifact ID is going to be image service. That will just save image and get image. Now I can reuse this code. I'll just add this dependency here called r.twitter.com. Sorry, com.twitter, and artifact ID will be image service. Now I can import the code which is written in that particular Spring Boot project. So how cool is it? So that's the reason why you give group ID and artifact ID, so that you decide to go public or you decide to you reuse the code, you can reuse it like this. So is it clear why we are giving group ID and artifact ID?
Yes.
Okay, great. So combination of these two should always be unique inside your orgs projects. If you're going public, it should be unique for every project that is out there. Okay, all right, cool. And then you can ask me, dude, where is the version? You didn't mention the version here. Since all these dependencies are default dependencies, it depends on our Spring Boot version. So we have to declare something called as parent. So depending on this version, whichever is supported, it will pick it up. You don't have to worry that much about that. If you're using some other external dependency that is not from Spring Boot, then you will have to mention the version, which you'll be doing in quite some time. Okay, we're done with pom.xml. Let's get inside source. So left side, can you see, right? Source, I have main folder, then I have test folder. So whatever code you write, you have to be confident about it. How will you be confident about it? Once you test it. How are you going to test your code? By building the project and testing it. How are you going to test your code? I mean, let's say you build your code. On which decision will you be confident about the code that you've written? Tell me. Are you going to be by default confident about your code that I've written? Whatever code I've written, I'll be confident. I'm too.
You need to test it on a few, let's say, test cases
Okay.
on a test
Yeah.
service.
Yeah. So before you give your service, give your application to your consumer, you have to test it on your own. The naive way of testing is building the project and hitting it everything by manually. Okay. You can what we'll do is we'll divide our code into chunks and we'll test it. So this is something really advanced and this is not in the scope of today's discussion. But remember that testing testing our code is so important that you're not a you won't be you should not be confident about your code if you have not tested it. Okay. So yeah, that is what you'll write tests for your particular code that you've written. So that is where all the code goes. Now whatever code that you're going to write, the features will go inside the main folder. Now we have two folders here, resources folder and then we have Java folder. So inside resources, let's say if you are delivering some sort of static content, right, we'll have some static images, we'll have some static files. If you want to deliver, you can put it inside this. And these two folders are required when you're trying to write HTML files. We're not doing it, so I'll delete them. And application properties file. So whatever you want to add, you want to give it at runtime. You'll put them here. So yeah, we'll come to it. You'll understand what we're doing. Okay. Now these are resources. So whatever resources that our project is depending on, we need to put them here. If let's say you want a bunch of videos that your website is showing, then you want to have those videos in those resources folder. I hope you're getting my point. You have a bunch of static images that you want to deliver to your client. Then you need to put them in your resources folder. So it's just resources. Whatever resources it's depending on during runtime. Okay. So can you guys name such one resource that will be depending on in this project? Remember, we're not going to use images or videos because we are going to write an API. When we are writing an API, what should be that one resource that will be depending on?
Any clue?
Clue, it is related to the storage.
Cache.
Sorry? I didn't
Cache.
hear you. Cache?
Cache memory.
No. So yeah, we'll come to that. Maybe it is a little too complicated question. We'll come to that. So next, inside the Java folder. So inside this Java folder, this is actually not one folder. It's actually 3 folders. I'll show you that. So if you go inside CRUD, inside source, inside main, inside Java, you have COM, inside that you have Jitter, inside that you have CRUD. Now, what is this COM, Jitter, COM folder, inside that Jitter folder, inside that CRUD folder? What is that?
So COM is like the whole package for the application.
Yes.
Uh,
It is a folder structure, and what is it following? The group ID and artifact ID that we've given. So com.Twitter, the com folder and Twitter folder is the group ID, and CRUD is the artifact ID. So that whatever we have given, that is what it will be here. Now, why is it like that? Remember, whenever you are adding few dependencies, you mention the group ID and artifact ID. Now, whenever you are importing code, you must follow the same way. So you will do org.springboot framework, spring framework.boot, springboot starter web, and whatever the code that is there. So when we are running this, you'll understand. So this is our main application. We will hardly ever change this file. Okay. So if you see, we have mentioned a package here. So the people who know Java, what is this package thing? What is the use of this package? No, it's not the class name. Class name is this one. What is the use of this one? I think I messed up something. Editors. Okay. Okay. So yeah, come on, guess. What is the use of this thing?
to use the code into another, like to import the methods.
So what do you guys know about protected keyword? What is protected keyword? Hello. Come on, just give some
Like
guess.
access specifier.
Modifier. Yeah.
Modifier.
So protected, what happens is that any code that is present inside your package. So inside this package, if let's say I have protected string name, final string name J. Okay. Now any code that is written inside this package can access this particular field, but not outside. So those are a few reasons why you put package. And also, if you want to import this particular cache file, you know how you do. You do import com dot user dot crud dot. Yeah, this is how you import, and you can use this particular class anywhere in your code base. Okay, cool. Now that basics is done, so this whole folder structure. So do you guys have any doubt with this folder structure? Now we are going into writing the endpoints directly. Any doubt?
No, we are clear.
Okay. So let's go to. So anybody can chip in and tell me what is the importance of design patterns. What is a design pattern in the first place? What is a design pattern?
Structuring.
So design pattern is a generic solution for a generic problem. Okay. So there are many design patterns out there. So these are just solutions that are present for few problems. So what are data structures? So each data structure can be a generic solution to generics, like a specific niche of problems. Okay. For example, if you want to do a frequency stuff anywhere, frequency, you'll instantly hash map comes into your head. because that's what the data structure is for. Constant access time, constant set time. So this is what the data structure is for. So it is made for that. So design patterns are patterns which solve few problems, few niche problems. Okay, and you can put it for every niche problem. There will be some or the other design pattern out there. So Spring Boot, what happens is that whenever you write code, if you follow some good design patterns, if you follow some good coding principles, you will make sure that it will be helping you in a long run. Okay, there is something called as basic coding principles. So you don't have, there is some word for this, LISCO principle, something I forgot. These are like basic solid principles. So you have SOLID. So this is for single. So any class or any code you write, it must only solve one problem. And each letter here, depicts. I'll just Google this. I don't remember. Yeah. So you see, solid is single responsibility principle, open close principle. So there's a lot of other principles. So whenever you're you're developing a project, you must make sure that you'll follow this. In the case of Spring Boot, if you are not following it, then the code won't look that much comfortable to you. So you will give all the control to Spring Boot. That is one really great feature, and it will make sure that you are following it at any given point of time. You can still cheat it, because a few developers are there who manage to cheat Spring Boot. So Spring Boot, pushes you to an extent where you will write good code, clean code. So there are many principles which it uses. So keep this in mind. We'll come back to that as we are developing it. So now we'll go back to how we will write basic applications. Okay. So yeah. Now we have controller. So these are like basic building blocks or the folder structure of the Spring Boot project. So we'll have controller, we have service, then we have repository. Okay, and then these three only. Now Puneet or someone voluntarily just come up. I'll give you so let's suppose a user is trying to create a tweet. Now what sort of different stages, or what is the flow chart that comes to your head that you want to do in your code, backend code? So first step would be
there should be an endpoint.
Yeah, so we need an endpoint which user can access. This is the first step. What is the second step?
We should validate the request.
Yeah, so validate the request. Okay, then?
And find out which services required for
forget service. Just tell me what the steps that you want to do. What is this endpoint? User is trying to make a tweet. User trying to make a tweet. Okay. What is the third step?
I think forwarding it to the service.
Let's suppose a user makes it sweet. Okay, you will have some business logic that you want to run. Let's say we need to update to all the followers feed. Okay, and then let's say we need to. This is hypothetical. It's not really that. This is how it needs to be done. I'm just trying to convey a point for which I'm taking the freedom of breaking few things. So assuming few things, sorry, and we need to save to DB. Correct? Save the tweet to DB. Correct? Is there anything else
Yes.
that you want to do?
Tell the user it is posted.
Yeah. So I'll tell you guys how you can segregate this. So let's say blue thing is the controller, and my pink is my repository. Is it pink? I don't know. Green is my service. So now what happens is that we divide our code, this whole process, into 3 different layers. Why we do that? I'll come to that. So if you see, what happens is that the user is here. He will, the only thing that is exposed to him is the controller. Okay. And controller does something and returns it back. Now, what is the roles and responsibility of service? It is just a mediating layer between your controller and your repository. And what is the role of repository? It does whatever the service is telling to do, and it gives you whatever the service is telling you to do. And what it does in return, it does few actions over the database. Okay. Now, if you see properly, in the below instructions, okay, what needs to be done. So, what is solid principles? That one main thing is that you need to have separation of concern. You should not mix Maggie with curd rice. Is there anybody who will do that? Yeah, I like this silence. Nobody does that. So, yeah. So we want to have separation of concerns for different tasks. I'll eat Maggie when I want to eat Maggie. I'll eat curd rice when I want to eat curd rice. I won't mix them both. Correct. Do the same thing. If I see you guys mixing your code with different concerns, my face expression will go like this because it's the same as eating Maggie with curd rice. Okay. To the online audience, if there's anybody who loves eating Maggie with curd rice, I'm sorry that I've hurt your sensibilities and I have no regret. Okay. So I'll just round up all the logic that goes into these 3 layers. Okay. So we need to make an endpoint which user can access and validate the request. So these 2 things controller will take care. Okay. And whatever the business logic that we're going to run, the third point will take care of will taken care by service. And at last, if you anytime you want to interact with the database, we will do that in our repository layer. Okay. The reason why we are separating this is that anytime a request comes in, you have to validate, because the REST request comes in a JSON. You need to validate the JSON. You need to check if all the, let's suppose a user is trying to make a tweet, then we are expecting some JSON like this. So we'll have a JSON. Okay, shit, I don't know why this color is on. So we'll have a user ID, let's suppose, and it needs to be a string. And we have a, so we have a the tweet. Sorry for the spelling mistake. Tweet, and we need text for this. Again, it's a string. And we have a lot of logic over this. So we need the user ID to be some length string. We need the tweet to be at least 3 characters, maximum 145 characters or something. So all this validation, we will do it. Is it something that is related to our business logic?
No.
We are assuming, our business logic assumes that the user is trying to make the right tweet. Correct. But there is a room for the user making mistake, and that is something that our business logic is not concerned about. So we'll put it in the controller. So what that controller does is, as the name suggests, it will control all the requests that is coming into picture, and it will redirect it into the necessary service. And this service holds all the business logic that we want to accomplish. So the controller knows which service does which sort of business logic, so that the controller will redirect not redirect actually. It will just give the request to the service so that it can take care. But as you know, the service does not care about the validation of the request. It will assume that it is already validated, it's really clean. So the controller will take care of how we are, how the request is coming in, all the validation rules. Okay. Now, the service will do all the business logic. Now, tell me, is your business logic concerned about the SQL queries you write? Is it concerned about the SQL queries you write?
No.
Why? Because the business logic is only bothered about is my every task that need to be done for a given request is accomplished or not. How you write your SQL query, how optimized you write, it does not matter. But we want the task to be done. So that's what the service does. It will delegate the task to repository to do it. And we have a lot of hope in repository that it will make sure that that particular queries, whatever the repository is running, it's optimized. Okay. Now your repository will take care of writing those queries, insert queries, select queries, all those queries onto your database. Okay. This is why we have separation of concern. Now, what happens if suddenly the client goes and I won't give you a request in JSON, but I will give you a request in XML. Where do you want to change the code? You will change it only in controller. And the rest of the services you won't impact. It will be like same. It will be the same. Okay. Now, now if suppose I mix everything together. Now if I'm changing the controller, the way the controller is reading the request from user, the whole code is impacted. So you will never know where it will go wrong. Now because of that JSON change, if something is going wrong, we know for damn sure that that is from the controller only, because it is limited to that. Correct. Okay. So what else? Yeah, if suddenly your business comes and it tells that you don't need to put you don't need to put the particular execute in every followers, but you only need to put in followers who have rang a bell icon. Then you have to only make a tiny change in service layer, not in your controller, not in your repository. Correct? Exactly. So yeah, that's the whole gist of why we follow this architecture. Now what we're going to do is we are going to write a simple simple request. So just keep in mind that anybody knows what is this is annotation. Okay, shit, I spoiled it. It's called an annotation. So whenever you put at and you do something, you're letting your Spring framework know that what this class is about. Okay. So whenever you do @SpringBoot application, you're letting it know that this is a Spring Boot application. Simple. Nothing much, nothing less, nothing more. Okay. Now let's write a simple CRUD one. Okay, who's that mic, bro? You have any doubt? So we'll create a new folder inside our project called controller. Is the spelling correct? Controller, yes. We'll create a new folder again called service. Okay, we'll create a new folder again called repository. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll write a class called Twitter controller. Okay, I'll just add the spelling to dictionary. It will be annoying to me. Okay, so Twitter controller. So in this Twitter controller, it's a class, it's a controller that we're going to expose it to the user. But you can tell me, dude, you have nothing here. How are you going to expose it? Correct. How are you going to expose? Let's say I do public, because it needs to be given to some other fellow. I do it. So I do public string and then just a hello world method. So whenever people call this hello world method, it will return string hello world. Okay. So now you can tell me that, dude, how are you like exposing it to the user? Which port are you listening to? All that blah 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 stuff. So all you can do is add some you need to add some annotation that will let your SpringBoot know that you're trying to create a controller. Okay, so you can do REST controller. So we're trying to create a controller, and that is a REST controller because you're trying to make a REST API. All these things you don't have to worry. By practice, you'll get it. Okay, you just need to know the gist of how things work. The more the more you know about how things are done, you can Google it. Let's suppose you want to create a controller, you know that you have to annotate it with some annotation. So this is called as annotating this particular class with some annotation. So you can go back and Google it. How are you going to do that? Okay. Now also I need to give request mapping. Just bear with me. I'll explain you guys what this is about. I can do Twitter and okay, dude, you have exposed the class, but how are you going to expose this method? So you're going to expose it with get mapping. Yeah. So tell me, guys. Tell me all the methods that is supported by uh, a normal REST API.
Get, post, put,
Yeah,
delete, patch.
yeah. Everything is supported here. So what's happening is that this annotation. I need to download the documentation. Give me a second. I'll go Maven. Yeah. So this particular code, what it tells is that, dude, this is my class and this is a REST controller. So make sure that you keep this class in mind whenever the user is trying to make a request. Now, in your request, in your HTTP request, so this will be get, and then it will be this will be. So if a user does our domain, and our URL, our Twitter. If he does our Twitter URL.com whatever slash Twitter slash hello, our Spring Boot application will run this method and it will return the result. Okay. And now this Twitter will tell you whatever methods that you are writing inside this particular controller. Every method endpoint is this is my parent endpoint. So let's suppose I write one more thing. I write one more where I do, let's suppose, get mapping. Who are you? I do who are you? I do public.
Font size, please.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, I do string who are you? Okay, and I return I am Twitter. So now this, what is this endpoint? This endpoint will be get. Yeah, this is going to be our endpoint. So this is going to be our Twitter URL, and then the Twitter. Where is this coming from? You've annotated the whole class with this. So whatever method that you're going to write will be backed by this particular annotation. Okay, so this is just like a prefix for every endpoint that you're going to write here. So let me just go ahead and run this. Okay, I think I need to disable one thing. Let me. I'm going to run. I need to remove this dependency. Yeah, it crashed because I know why it crashed, but let me rerun this again.
Spring Web Framework dependency.
No, I've added a Spring, so it started. See, it started. So this nice little Spring icon will come and the version, and you will see all the
Your
logs.
screen is stuck.
Screen is stuck.
Hmm.
Now, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So it is running right now. So what happened before was that we were having a database dependency, but we never mentioned which database. So that's why it crashed. But anyways, I will try and hit this thing. So I'll open my terminal. Okay. Let me pull this terminal and let me do curl and then http localhost 8080. So default port is 8080. Okay. And then I can do Twitter /hello. You see, I sent this request. You can see that request came in. some we log something. You don't have to worry about this. Okay, and you can see the response here. So we got the status code 200, description nothing. We got the content as hello world. Cool. You know how cool this is. So that is how you access an API. So we written a successfully written an API. Okay. So any doubt till here? Okay, let me hit this who are you also. I can go instead of hello, I can do who are you? I am Jitter. Got it. Okay. I'll just stop my stream once. So tell me guys, any doubts till now? I think I took a lot of time to discover the basics. So is there anything that you guys want? Or do you want me to speed up? Did I lose my internet?
No, we are clear.
So okay, how is it going so far? Tell me.
So it's good we are understanding.
Okay, what about others?
Yeah, I got an idea how to start the application from this.
Okay, cool. So next let's get into so do you guys want to continue writing the Twitter thing? So let us just design this. Okay. So let me give me just a few seconds. I'll just stop my screen. Meanwhile, Puneet, if you want, you can take over, talk about something. Just want to configure something, which I can't do it on live stream. So Puneet, please take over. So, but till now, I want you guys to just discuss how it's going. What do you guys think about this? What are the alternatives? Is there any similarities? Just keep a good discussion. I'll be right back in 2 minutes.
Okay. So can anyone quickly summarize what we have done till now? Let's go with Likita.
Yeah, actually, firstly, SpringBoot, we have got an intro of it, and we have started the Spring initializer, and then we have opened our project application, and then yeah, we have connected it. So through giving command, firstly we have given the Docker command, so we have got it now from there.
Uh, yeah, cool. Uh, can anyone apart from Likita can explain more? Like Likita just gave it as a brief. Santosh?
It's, even I learned it still there only. After installation with little bit, it became blur.
Can I know everyone here are at least have basic idea about how web works, like HTTP? What are the verbs we are using? Do you know it, Santosh?
I don't know much about the HTTP codes, but
Okay. Does anyone know here, Ishwar? Do you know about HTTP?
Hypertext transfer protocol.
So what it is used for?
So it is used to give us a direction towards what we are searching for, or it provides a link which directs us to the particular web page.
Okay. So do you know any other verbs that we are using here, like get, post? What specifically it means for? So get is something like when you get some data, like as the you can see as earlier Jaideep mentioned, like there are two types of rendering. server side and client side. All the server side rendered pages are visible to you only because of the get. By default, your browser has get verb in it. So whenever you search for something, you'll get something. That is why your browser by default it has get verb in it, and it uses HTTP. And what is post? When you're filling out something like forms, when you're sending something to the server, for example, uh, if you're filling some forms in Google Sheets or something, it is being sent to the server and then to the database. So you're putting some data into your request, so which will be stored in the request body, and then it will be forwarded to the server. So most of the cases you can see it on the UI itself. Very at rare you can see the backend logics are applied to it. And then what are other two? What is put and what is delete? By the name itself you can define it. Can anyone? Srija, what is delete?
Uh, you asked me to delete, right?
Yeah, as simple as that. So is Jaideep back here? Jaideep, are you there?
Yep, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, so where were we? We created the first endpoint, and yeah, now we will go ahead and configure. Uh, let's design the database first. Okay, let's go ahead and design the database first. So where is my? So you guys can't see my screen. Wait. Screen. For this, I need active collaboration. Okay, because designing a database is really a little bit complex, but we want everybody's input so that we can make it more enjoyable. Okay, so let's create the database. So what do you guys know about creating database? Pick someone, Puneet. Pick someone randomly. Let's ask.
Srija.
Srija, what do you know about databases and their design?
Or shall I answer it?
No. I want somebody from the core team.
Yeah, databases, right?
Yeah.
Store the data actually about the website, like cookies, like not a cookies, but
Okay.
everything data.
I
Okay.
think I have a gist of it. So it's database is in a simple format, or it's a tabular format to be specific. It stores
Yeah.
all the things in forms of attributes and forgot the other name. So that it'll be easier to reach out to them, like search specifically.
Okay. So we are going to build a simple Twitter application. Okay. No, there will be no users here. So there will be no users. You can ask me if there are no users, then how are they going to reply, or how are they going to post something? How will you use the name? Correct. So for this, what we'll do is this is a challenge. No users, but anybody that comes to our platform can create a tweet or reply to a tweet.
Shall we start from user side?
Because if you're going to use users, then you need to do Spring security and all, which is something that is a little out of scope for this session.
I will do with some lame code, and then for the next episodes we'll include Spring Security.
thinking? How do you want to do it? No, let's just keep it simple. Just tweets. Okay. So one endpoint. I'll just write it down. No need users. So one endpoint to so we'll do get and we'll do tweets. Okay, this will return all tweets. Sorry, tweets. Okay, and then we do post tweets, and this should create a new tweet. Okay, and then we will do post tweets. Okay, we need to declare the schema, right, for this. So this is going to be the request body. So the request body is going to be the tweet itself. So it's going to be string, and then what else? You need the name. Name is also string. So who's trying to make the tweet? Cool. So that's going to be the name. And then let's put one more thing. Let's say category. Category. Is spelling correct? At least for this reply, dudes. Is it correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. So this is how you create a new tweet. Now let's suppose you want to reply to someone else's tweet. How are you going to do it? You do post, you do tweets, and then do tweet ID. And for this, you will reply to a tweet. Okay.
Reply.
Yeah. For this also same. We'll take the same thing. We'll take the same body. Is there anything else required? I think the category won't be there. Correct. Because it's not a new conversation. Category is
What will
not.
be the reply content?
Yeah, reply content will be here. Tweet. This is the content. This is the content. The name who is trying to do.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's do delete. Delete. Tweets slash tweet ID. Okay, this will just delete tweet. Now the question here is, are you going to do a soft delete or a hard delete? Because let's just say I created a tweet and 3 people replied. Now I'm trying to delete it. Should I delete all the children, or should I just tell that the parent tweet is deleted and display the rest below? How should we do it?
Can you tell us again?
So if a tweet is deleted, should I delete all the replies? One scenario, if I delete the tweet, by default delete all the children. That is first scenario. Second scenario, if I delete a tweet, keep the children, but whenever you are displaying this particular tweet, make sure that you mention that it is deleted. It does not exist.
I guess you must delete all the replies also, right?
Okay?
Yeah,
Because
deleting all the replies will do.
Like, what's the use of comments without a video?
okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, we can do that. So this is something. Both of these will have different challenges that we need to accomplish. So yeah, that's one thing. Okay, delete exit. So we're going to completely go bonkers and delete the exit. Is there anything else? Can they update exit?
Yes.
Okay, patch patch.
And will it show the tweet is deleted? Or
Huh?
so, once a tweet is deleted, people must know that there's a tweet that has been deleted.
What's the point if there are no replies and you show the people
Just
that
like in WhatsApp, when you delete a message, it'll show the message has been deleted.
in WhatsApp you have to show it because in the context of the whole chat there is something missing. But I don't see. If you have the replies, then you need this.
Yeah, then leave. No, not required.
Okay. So patch. So again, Zweets slash Zweet ID, and then the schema for this would be schema for this would be schema for this would be just Zweet. String. Okay. Okay. So cool. This is how it's going to work. So before this, we need to create a database. Correct. So how are we going to create a database? How many tables do you think should be there? I clearly know how many tables should be there, but you guys tell me.
I think only one table.
One table.
Okay, anybody else who wants to disagree? I disagree.
Okay, two tables, two tables.
Anybody else who wants to disagree with this point? I disagree.
Okay, three table.
Bullshit, bro. You if I keep discussing disagree, you go to tell Ian. No. Reason.
We are online. We can't put beeps.
Okay, shit. Yeah,
You
man.
demonetize this.
Okay. Okay. YouTube Kaka, forgive me. Okay. Okay, what are we doing? Yeah, database design. So come on, guys. How many people think it's one table? How many people think it's two table? How many people think you don't need tables but you need chairs?
We need one table is fine.
One table is fine.
Okay, everybody go and put the table design in YouTube chat.
Like what are the attributes will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
First. Meanwhile, I'll configure the database setup. Okay, let me check this out. And database. Okay, yeah, this works fine. Now, are you guys done? Come on, guys, we have a lot of time. Oh, sorry, we don't have a lot of time.
Is that okay in the chat?
I asked you to put in YouTube thing. Okay, so you want ID, you have ID, primary ID. Okay, cool. Previous reference, name, exit. Where is category?
I forgot it.
Yeah. Okay, we can okay, keep category. Yeah, send it.
Done.
Okay, done.
So my idea is initially for the parent suite, we don't have previous reference. For the children's suite, we have previous reference.
So you mean to tell that for parent exits you'll have
Can you
previous.
display it on your screen so that everyone will get reference?
Okay, I'll copy this. You're telling that. So you're telling that this is my primary ID. Okay. This is my previous reference ID, which can be UUID or null. Correct.
Yes.
For parents, it's going to be null. And you have name, you have string, you have enum. Correct.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Now, let us just say, where is my whiteboard? Okay, here. So now, what should be the response for? Should be the response for get all tweets. So we will only give parents tweets here. Okay, we will not give replies. Okay, so we will give tweets. Oops, we'll give tweets, and then we'll give we should give an array in which we'll have so this is a exit array, correct? Sweet response array. Now what is sweet response? Sweet response. It's again another JSON. You have ID. This might be UUID. Okay, let's keep it integer for now. Okay. Let it be long, and then what else? Need we need the suite. This is string, and then you need have ID suite.
Name,
Oh yes, name.
category,
String, 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 and then we have category. There is also string for client, and then we have number of replies. Going to be number. You know why I put this? If the number of replies are 0, then no need to put that in front end. We need to think that our front end developers are dumb. Okay, keep the front end applications dumb. So when you send the number of replies 0, no need to render the view replace button. If you send more than 0, then you have to render the view replace button. When you hit the view replace button, what happens is that we need to, yes, we forgot. How great, beautiful people we are. So how will you get replaced for every tweet? For that particular tweet. So you do tweets/id. With this, you'll get replaced for that particular tweet. How is that going to be? It's going to be same. It will be same.
Yes, yes.
Okay. You can do the whole thing in just one tweet. It all depends on how you guys want to proceed. How do you guys want to proceed? You want two endpoints or one endpoint?
2 is better, unless user wants to say it why we want to pull all the data.
Okay, what about others?
I go with 2.
Okay, anybody else who have a contradicting opinion? I would love to see some contradicting opinions here. Okay, very sad audience. No contradicting opinions. I hate when people are in harmony, dude. Okay, so we are going with 2 endpoints. Okay, great. All good. Okay, now let's go ahead and design the database. Okay, now we have discussed about 3 folders. What are those? Anybody other than Puneet, Sai Santosh, and what's this guy's name? I forgot. Okay, anybody else wants to tell the three folders that we follow? Names of those and by what responsibility those have?
They are controllers,
Okay.
repository,
Okay.
service.
Yay, you got it. Cool. Now, can you tell me the control flow? Like, which is the first one triggered with respect to the user, and which is the next one? Which is the next one?
Yeah, first it is controller,
Okay.
then service,
Okay.
and then repository.
Great. Perfect. So there is one more term that you guys need to understand. It is called as DAO. Anybody other than Puneet who know what is DAO? O? O? Anybody? Okay, I didn't expect. I expected that. So it is called as data access
Object.
Yes. Okay, you know what is that O is for? Yeah, data access object. So why the heck do we have one more term? I know, lot of gibberish, lot of headache, but think, trigger that, get out of the matrix and think. So why is this guy teaching you DAO? It's called DAO. Okay. So data access objects, you are writing your code in Java, correct? But then the whole database is in tables, rows, columns, right? Java, tables, Java, tables, Java, tables. How the heck are you going to turn it into Java code? Right? Java, everything is an object. Everybody should know that. So how are you going to represent that whole table thing here? Correct. So the Spring Boot guys came up with a way called the data JPA dependency that will make it very easy for us. So before, how it was happening is that, let's suppose you want to save a user. We have only simple table user and then password. It's called a user table. You need to connect to that particular database, write a query in query string. It is called insert into users, and then Jaideep, password is Anushka. You need to do this. Which is this friendly to Java? No, because you're handling it in string. But this is something that is the core data, correct? So you need to do a lot of stuff. So let's suppose I have a number of followers. Okay, someone has a doubt. Come on.
So it's basically like we need something like pandas in Python, something which will allow us to access data.
Yes, yes, you need a way to represent the data. Exactly, man. Thanks for the assist. So you need a way to represent the data. Correct. So, so I'll just write something that will represent the data. So we'll create a new package called DAOs, DAO, DAOs, data access objects. Cool name. Huh? And then you need to create a class. And then you need to create a class where, let's say, we have Xweet DAO. Correct. That's our table, right? Xweet table. The table. Who's that laughing, man? Did you have to like really unmute and do that so that I know you're laughing? I'm kidding. So, okay, where is this DAO? Yeah, got it. So this is our Xweet DAO. Okay, let me say that in dictionary. Okay. Now what do we need? We need an ID. Correct. We need an ID. Okay, I'll disable my Copilot. We need an ID. What else do we need? We need a come on guys, assist, please speak out. We need
Name,
we need a name.
Xweet,
Yeah, exactly. We need the Xweet, and then we need a private string. Okay, let's go string for now. Okay, let's go with string category. Okay, and here's the reveal. Run rows, please. How do you link the parent one? So you just put Xweet down and then parent. Parent suite. How cool is it? So think. Everything is in this particular class. Correct?
what do that do? Like the last one, Xweet DAO, and it's a type, right?
It's a type. So let's suppose this is the object of this particular class. So excuse me, I'm writing a method here. Static void name. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a private. So I'm going to create a Xweet and do a Xweet. Let's do a. I tell that I. Okay, what is the Xweet name? My first. Okay, let me think. Something funny. Elon Sim tweet. Okay. I should have censored this. Never mind, I don't care. So I'll create a new Xweet. Okay. We need to declare a constructor for this. So let me go to Xweet dog and then string ID, string name, and then string Xweet, and then string category. Okay, shit. This should not be capital.
Will get unmonetized.
Sorry?
We don't have anyone to beep here.
I didn't understand. I'm thinking something. So sorry. Is that ID is equal to ID? Is dot name is equal to name? All this you guys know, right? Basics.
Like getters and setters.
No, this is constructor. It's not a getter and setter.
Yeah, it will copy the properties of the class.
Yeah. So one shortcut is there. Okay. I can do all. Okay. I'll just write this and then I'll tell you guys. So Xweet is going to be Xweet, and then this dot parent Xweet is going to be parent Xweet, and this dot category is going to be category. Okay. Happy? So we have a constructor. Now I'm going to call this constructor. So I'll give it an ID of my own. I'll do it one. Will I give ID string? Yeah. Let me keep this long. this is my first tweet, so I'll keep it 1. Okay, and then I'll do, what is the next one? I need a name. My name is Logan. And then my tweet, Elon is hot. And then category, theme, and then parent tweet, null. So this is my Elon sim tweet. Okay, why is the ID thing? Oh shit. No. Okay, this is my Elon sim tweet. Now let's suppose I have a property. Let's suppose I put it in a. So this is my. Why is it still crying? So this is my Elon sim tweet. Now what I'm indicating here is that, dude, to my Exuit application, dude, this tweet is a new tweet because I have no parent tweet link.
Remove where over there.
Why?
It's a class constructor, right?
This one.
Huh.
This where is this basically instead of this you can put where. Both are same. Okay, for simplicity, I put this. So I've created a Elon sim tweet, and this is a parent tweet because it has no parent. Now let's suppose Elon comments to it. I do, and then reply tweet, and then what I need to do is new. Let's copy this whole thing. Let's paste it here. Instead of 1, I do 2. I go like Elon, and then he goes, thanks, love you too, Logan, and then category, I'll pass simp because it's the parent category. Instead of passing null here, I do Elon simp. Woo! It's that simple.
Yes.
Do you guys understand what you're trying to do here now? Now let's say someone wanted to. I wanted to again reply to. I wanted to reply to my reply tweet. So this is Elon reply. Let's say Puneet replies. Puneet reply. Yes, Puneet tweet. New tweet DAO. Let's do all this. Puneet. And then
ID. Change the ID.
Okay, ID is going to be free. All this will take care, but I'm just showing you guys how it works. So this tweet is going to be everything is BS. Theme, and this is going to be Elon reply tweet. So
it's like a thread.
Yeah, it's a thread that we have done. Now what if? So let's say I do where and all tweets. This is all the tweets in the database. Okay, I do list.off. I'm creating a list. I do Elon sim tweet, Elon reply tweet, and then Puneet tweet. So if I want to fetch all the tweets, so you guys are not comfortable with this one. Okay, so if I want to fetch all the tweets made in the platform, parent tweets, what I'm going to do? I'll do add tweets, add stream.filter, predicate. I need to send a predicate, so I'll get the tweet. So what I'll tell is that tweet dot parent tweet into a getter on this. So declare a getter. Yeah. So I do get parent tweet is equal to null. Okay, what is this? Okay, I need to map it. Okay, I need to save this. Share. So these are list of tweet DAO. These are parent tweets. Okay. Now I need to dot collection to list data. Okay, I got the parent tweet. Now let's suppose I take the first tweet in that. I take parent tweet. I take first tweet and check the reply, because obviously there's only one tweet, right? Without null, we'll get only one tweet. So this is going to be parent tweet dot get 0. I get the first one. Okay, so I'll just comment this out. This is going to be generating all tweets in the
Tweets.
platform. Yeah, whatever, bro. Okay, and then this is going to be, what did I do? Yeah, and this is going to be generating and getting the replies for first tweet, first parent tweet. So if I go inside this, now I need to get replies. How will I do it? So I'll do list of tweet out, and then I'll do reply tweets, and then I can do all tweets dot stream. So this will just stream everything. I mean, stream every tweet that is present and filter. I'm filtering according to this. So I'll get one. Okay, I didn't explain this one, I assume you guys knew it. I'll do get parent tweet dot equals, and then it's going to be first tweet. So the to list. Yeah. So what am I doing here? I'm off all the tweets that we have in the platform. Okay, I'm filtering it. I'm getting only tweets whose parent is this first tweet. So I'm getting all the reply tweets of this first tweet. What is going to come? This one is going to come, because this is only parent, correct? So that's the whole gist of this particular class. Okay. Did you guys understand?
Yes.
Okay, let me go ahead and do one small thing. I'll generate getters for this. I'll do getters for this. Okay. And we need to do setters for So what are we going to change? We are going to change the tweet. That's all right. So we need to generate getter for
We need to set everything right.
We'll do it via constructor. So that is the whole concept of the oops thing. So once the tweet is created, when you're creating the tweet, when you're creating the tweet, you need all the fields, correct?
Yes.
So after that, you're never going to update the category and parent according to our business logic. You're never going to update ID and name. You're only going to update the tweet. So you're going to create a setter for this. You see, that is the whole point of private. Nobody knows what this shit is inside. Sorry, what this stuff is inside. Only until and unless you provide getters, they will know what is that private value. So the reason why we are putting private here is we are modifying the access to these particular fields according to the need of the business logic. There is no need for me to create a setter for parent tweet, because after it is replied, I'm not going to user is not going to pull that tweet and put it under some other tweet, correct? So what is the use of providing a set access to anybody? Let's say you have put a setter for this. There will be a probability where some other developer in your code will set this. That will lead to a bug. Are you guys getting my point?
Yeah.
Correct. It is not required to be updated. So that is the whole reason of abstracting all this stuff.
Also, name should be updated, right?
No, you can't update the name according to our current business logic. If you want, we could do that.
Like who has replied to it?
Yeah, if you want, we can do that. But right now, no need to do all that. So also, I told annotations plays a really vital role. So for this, in order to tell it's a controller, we did these two annotations. In order to tell that this is a table in our database, what are we going to do? We need to annotate it. Okay.
Table.
And the annotations required is entity. If you see, it's coming from a Jarkata thing. Okay. So let me check the docs here. So this is applied to an entity class. So what happens here is that whenever you want to establish a connection between a database table and your Java class, you will mention it like this. Okay. Now all the fields here are a column. Is a column. Okay. Now you can tell me that, dude. Okay. First, let me solve the errors which is coming here one by one. So it is telling that okay, it needs to have a protected. You don't need to worry about this. It's a little bit advanced, like why it is necessary. But for now, just assume that you need a empty constructor and you need a public constructor for us. Okay. So I'll just put this at last after the getters and setters. Okay. Okay. Now, if you see here, it's an entity class. Okay, I've mapped everything. Every field here is going to be one column. Okay. Now you can tell me that, dude, you told that where is this? Yeah, got it. So Puneet told that we are going to have for parent, you're going to have put UUID. But we have a freaking object here. How are you going to do it? Correct? Because we can't put an object in a column. Object won't fit in one column. Right, in table in DBMS, one column should have only homogeneous values. You can't have dynamic values. So it must be the same data type across. But how will you put an object there? You can't put an object there. You need to put primitive data types. Correct. In this case, he has given that you need to put UID. So, but for us, our logic for Java, it is a parent tweet. If I have a UUID, how the heck will I get an object? So the data JBA has this feature where it can get us the object. Behind the scenes, it will set the ID there, but for us, it will give the object. So first we'll try and run this out, then we'll understand. So at the rate ID, okay, and for this one we need to set mapping. Okay, so I'll take up my whiteboard again. So what we're trying to do here is, so we have a Zwitz table. So we have an ID. This is the primary ID for this primary key, and we have a parent ID. Correct. Now where this parent ID will point to? Here. Correct. Agreed or not?
Yes.
Correct. And tell me, one suite, how many parents can it have?
One.
So let's just think that it's a separate table for now. Okay. This is like suite. For now, just think it's a separate table. I put parent ID. So this parent ID will be mapped to here. So for every suite, parent suite that is out there, you will have a child tweet. Sorry. Yeah, for every child tweet, let's assume there's a child tweet tweets table. For every child tweets that is present in this particular table, you will have a parent tweet. Agreed? Without parent, you will not have a child tweet.
Yes.
Agreed? Correct. So you have a one-to-one mapping. For every parent tweet out there, there will be at most one child tweet out there. So for every one child tweet, you will have at most one
Wait. One parent tweet can have many child, right?
Oh yes. Wait. I got confused. Yeah. You have one-to-one. Sorry, my bad. Thanks for correcting. You have one-to-one relationship. So one parent tweet will have many records that will give you the replies for that particular tweet. But one child will only have one parent. Correct? So if you see from this side, you have only one parent. If you see from this side, you will have n number of children. Agreed? So you have any confusion here because I messed up here. This is really important, the database relationships. you can go in detail later, but to understand this scenario, you must understand here.
Yeah, we are clear.
Clear? Anybody who wants to ask any questions?
No.
Continue, got it.
Okay, cool. So I'll go back now. So it is throwing an error because
No, creators.
it is not an attribute. It's not a basic primitive type. If it is an object, then it's telling what is the relationship of that particular object with this particular class. So now, assuming that this is a child to it, you have one to many relationship. Okay, where I'm confused. One to many. Oh, sorry. Yeah, many to one. So you have different things. Okay, you have one to one. You have one to n. You have n to one. You have n to n. These both are ideally same. A little bit different, but they display the same relationship. But you see it from the side. So one
Perspection.
to one. Sorry.
They both depend upon the perspection. Like,
Perspective. Yeah. So one to one relationship is one example could be that yeah, let's say I have a users table, I have an address table. For every user, I can't store the address because it is having a lot of fields. What I'll do a one to one relationship. So one user will have one address at any given point of time. Okay, so that is one to one relationship. One to n, same thing. So for one parent ID, okay, that ID will be used n number of times. Exactly. So I super pat on my back. I got a way to understand to explain you guys this. So take a look at this. This is my users, okay, and this is my address. So I have my ID here. I have my user ID. So can you tell me? Yeah. So I have my ID here. Okay, I have my address ID. Okay, and I have my user's ID. So can you tell me this ID? How many times can it come there?
multiple times.
Fast. Multiple times. No. One user will have only one address. Even if the same address is shared by two users, you will create two records. So just imagine how many times this ID will be repeated in this particular table.
Okay,
Only
one
once.
time.
Only once. Now, see this. From that side perspective, you see. That ID, how many times will it be repeated in this table?
One time.
Only once. Correct. So that's why it's called a freaking one-to-one relationship. Now, in our scenario, why it is called a one-to-many relationship is that I have an ID here. I have a parent ID. Okay. This parent ID is pointing to this. This ID is pointing to this. Now, take one suite as a reference. Okay. Take one suite as a reference. Hold on to that ID and check in the same table how many parent IDs will it come.
0.
Just take any tweet. Okay.
Okay.
And hold on to that ID. In the same table, check how many parent tweets can come maximum. Parent IDs, parent tweet IDs. How many times will this ID be repeated in the table? Maximum.
One time.
No, wrong.
No, we are not getting the question.
Okay, let me put it this way. Take any reply tweet. Okay, take any reply tweet. Pick this parent ID field. Note on the value. Okay, let's say the value is 2. Then, what is this value 2 indicating? That value is indicating this ID, correct?
Yes.
Now, how many times will that be repeated in the whole Zwitz table?
Many
That
times.
2. Can you have 2 Zwitz with the same
Times we
ID?
get that
Huh?
many times.
I didn't understand. Come again.
How many reply tweets we get, that many times it will be repeated.
Yes, in this field. Exactly, in this field. But I'm asking in the primary field. Answer.
Actually, we not got, means what is, can you ask once again?
Okay, I'll create two tables, then you'll understand. So this is Zwitz. It is again exit. table, same table. Okay, I have ID here, I have parent ID here. Same table, nothing, no difference. I'm just drawing two diagrams here, that's all. So now if I pick the parent ID here, so what did we do here? We picked the address ID there. Okay, and we checked how many entries will be there for that, but one address ID, how many entries will be there in the users table? How many entries?
One.
One, correct. Here left side you pick the ID and you check how many user ID entries will be there here in the address table. How many?
One.
Now if I pick the parent ID here and check how many IDs will be there, exit IDs, how many will be there?
Many.
How?
It can
Parent is
have many.
only one. No. Oh, it's going to be one.
If we have multiple replies for it.
That's what I'm telling you. You have to pick the parent ID. Pick one parent ID here. Okay. Check how many IDs will be there in exits table.
One.
Carefully. One. Why one? Because
Only
it's the
one
freaking
parent.
primary ID. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from this perspective, you will have one. That's it. Now go back. Go back there. You take one ID and check how many primary IDs parent IDs will be there. Many. So this is a one-to-n relationship. Just merge the whole thing together. You will get one-to-many relationship like this. So we could have potentially had two tables for this, but having one table is more optimized. Okay, so that's the reason why we did this. So did you guys get an idea of how the one-to-n happens?
Yes.
Okay. One-to-many is one more bonkers thing which I won't go through now. Okay, but we will see. So I mentioned that this particular suite, okay, will have many to one relationship with the parent tweet. Okay, that means this particular tweet will have only, there might be many replies, but there will only be one parent tweet.
Yes.
That's what this means. Okay, so we have done all this. So let's rerun our application. Okay, to check if it is created or not.
Where it will be created?
In the database, the table.
You didn't connect it.
Oh, okay, yeah, shit, I forgot to show you this. So all you have to do is just mention these three things. First thing is the URL. Second thing is the username. Third thing is the password. Okay, so we got some logs.
What it is?
So this is just letting our application know what is the URL. So inside the resources,
What URL it is?
It is a JDBC URL for our pointing towards our database. It's a connection string.
Okay, it will be connected to our database.
Yeah, and these are the credentials that is required to authenticate. Okay, you just paste this, it will be ready. That's what I asked that time. What will you do in resources? Our application is depending on the database resource. So you must let it know how are we connecting. So this how. Okay, so now let's go back to the exits. Let's refresh the public. You remember this? I'm using this application to check how many records have been to describe the database, check the database and all. So let me see if it's created or not. Why can't you find it?
Because it's not called.
There are no references for that.
I think I messed up the connection. Let me just check. I did Twitter. Okay, I'll just turn on the logs. Okay, check it once. Give me a minute. Let me rerun this again. So this is just like debug logs. I'm just asking it to print all the queries it's running. Okay. This has created. It created a table called JIT-DAO. ID is big int not null. Category is varchar 255. Name varchar 255. Exit. You see parent exit ID. It is big int because it's pointing to this ID back.
Okay,
And the
so
primary
it's
key is ID.
automatically it's doing it by yourself.
Yeah, itself. I'm not writing any query. Correct. And also it
Yes.
is adding a foreign key constraint. That in this there is a foreign key called this one, and it is referencing the JIT-DAO table. Okay. Let me check the data grid now. Let me see. Oh yeah, I know what I've sorry, messed up. So yeah, so you see JIT-DAO table. Yes, we have ID, we have category, we have name, we have tweet, we have parent tweet. So almost everything is up and running here. Okay. Now let me just check how do I do increment. Okay, no, I don't like the table name. So I don't like the JIT-DAO. Why is it DAO coming there? How can you modify that? You can put one more annotation telling table and then name is equal to JIT. That's all. Okay. And then I need the ID to be auto generated. So you put
So by default, it's taking the class name.
yes. And the strategy is generation identity.
And what is that?
This is just letting my SpringBoot know that I don't want to generate the ID. You do it on your own. So that we can go back to constructor, remove this ID here.
Okay.
So that we don't have to worry about this ID. SpringBoot will take care. Okay. And is there anything
How will
that
you
you want?
define that it is unique?
How will you define that ID is unique? Because first thing I put the ID here, it will be automatically unique. But if you still want to make sure, you can write column annotation. So you want to define some specifics for that particular column. Okay. You can do unique is equal to true. You can do unique is equal to true. And then you can update the ID also, right? Once it's created.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already the default value. Oh, sorry, I don't want to update it. So this is the way how you configure, and that's all right. Nothing else.
Yes.
So by default, everything will be null. So we don't want the name to be null. Correct. Nullable is false. It can't be null. It should not be null. Same with ID.
Jaideep, one second. If you are creating database from DAO package, then why repository?
Did we go to repository too?
Like you have mentioned, we should use repository for interacting with.
Okay. So yeah, good question. We will go to that. So yeah, category should be false. I mean, nullable should be false. So all this should not be null, correct? Except for the parent tweet. If you don't declare anything, that means by default it is null. Okay, it can be null. Okay, guys, now let's go to the. So let's just go to. Let's just first thing is we need to create. We need to create a. So we need to create a exit, right? So I'll do exits. You need to always keep it in plural. And let me add it to dictionary. Exits. And I want to do public. Let's say exit DAO. I'll do exit DAO. And then create post exit. Okay. Now I need to do post mapping. I need to let it know that this is a post endpoint for this particular URL. Now I need to also I need to also give it a request body, correct? So for that we need to create a, so for now let's just say request body, let's just say object, and then request body, and then I will just return request body and do object. Okay, this is very simple. Now how do I know that, how do I tell my Spring Boot? See, because this, I'm just declaring this method here, but Spring Boot is the one which is actually calling this particular method as soon as the user sends a request. So how do I let my Spring Boot know that this is my request body? So I just have to tell, Boot, this is a request body. That's all. As simple as it is. Now I'll just log request body here. Okay. Well, anyways, I will be sending it. So let me build this once. So let me go to my application and properties. I'm there. So yeah, all good. Okay. So where is my postman? Here is my postman. So add a request. I'm going to create a. I'm going to post, and this is going to be http :// localhost 8080 slash. Okay, this is my total endpoint to trigger post tweet. So I'll name this as post tweet. Okay, in my body, I'll just do raw JSON. I'll just send this. Let's see what happens. I'm getting an empty body. Why? Okay, let's just go do name, do Elon. You see, it has perfectly mapped this request body to this particular object. Okay, correct? Agreed? Everybody understood this? What's it's happening?
Yes.
Okay, it is invoking this method, and while it is invoking, since we have mapped this request body here, it will take the JSON and it will make sure that it will take the burden of converting the JSON into the Java object. So that is the whole magic. Everything that is required to do in other frameworks, other languages, Spring Boot will take care. Okay. Okay. Now let's create a new package called DTOs. So this DTO is nothing but data transfer objects. So these DTOs are responsible for bringing in the data from client to server and sending the data from server to the client. Okay. Let me create a new Java class. I'll name it record. Anybody knows what's a Java record? Anybody? I'll do it. I'll help you out. So post suite request. Okay. So record is so you know, right? We put all the fields as private. Okay, in Java to achieve the highest abstraction and highest control over the classes. So when you put all those, so you see the Java file which we have created. You see the Java file. There's a lot of boilerplate here. You need to set, you need to get, you need to write constructor, all this. So Java 17, they have given a new feature where you can declare all this with just a record instead of class. This is a class, but with all the getters and setters, it is a immutable Java object. So once you create this object, you can't change the values of a particular field. You can only get the field. Okay, so you can Google.
So it just carries the data.
Exactly, it just carries the data, nothing much. You can't change the data, but you can fetch the data. Okay, to post tweet, what and all body you need? You need a name, and then you need a.
So this is a perspective of client side, right?
Yeah, it is a perspective of client side.
So that you are not mentioning ID.
Yeah, because you're creating a new one. How the heck will the client know the ID? That's right. So string, and then suite is done. We need category. That's all right. Creating exit. This three only, because it's a fresh one. Parent will not be there. Correct. guys?
Yes,
It or not?
yes.
Okay. So what I will do, I'll go to my Xsuite controller. I will, instead of this, I'll do post Xsuite request. This is my request body, and I will just return an object. Yeah, I will recompile the whole thing, rebuild it. Okay, all done. I think all done. Yeah. Now let me go send this request again to check everything is working or not. See, now we got Xsuite null, category null, because we are not passing anything here. Cool. Now we have to add validation. Okay. Let me. So we need to validate the data, right? We can't directly go ahead and save it in the database. Everybody agreed on this?
Yes. Like, do we have something like joy in the JavaScript?
Yes, exactly. We'll have, yeah. So we have something called as SpringBoot starter validation. Okay. So all you have to do is here, go to your pom.xml and let me add this dependency. So you need to just add this dependency. Okay. So this one is this from SpringBoot framework. It's called SpringBoot starter validation. Okay. It'll help us validate. So after adding a dependency, this is how you add a dependency. Go there, go to your dependencies property and add the dependency, which is the dependency we added this. Now reload the maven so that it will link all the required dependencies to our project. Okay. Now that it's done, let's go back here. So what is the validation that you need to put on name? Come on, everybody, shoot.
It should not be null.
Okay, not null. Then
It should be minimum of some size.
okay, minimum how many? 3 letters.
Not just spaces.
There should be 10.
Minimum maximum.
10.
Okay.
Not
See
just
how
spaces.
sorry.
Not just spaces.
Okay, that rejects you have to add. Okay, let's leave that for now. Okay, I'll just do not empty. So yeah, not
What is the
empty.
difference?
No. Let's keep it simple. No need to confuse you guys. So okay, now let me put it for Xsuite instead of name. Minimum at least 1 character. Okay, maximum let's say 150 characters. Okay, let me recompile this whole thing. Guess it. How long did it happen after starting?
Uh,
2 hours.
2 hours, 30 minutes.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. I am taking a lot of time of yours. Okay, so let me send this request. Let's see what happens now. Okay, what happened? Okay, shit. I missed the basic thing. So we have added the annotations here. Okay, we described what is the validation category, but we have never triggered this validation. So for that, what you need to do is so for that, what you need to do is you need to tell Spring Boot that you need to validate this. You need to validate this. So you need to put this annotation. So it's all about adding annotations. It is just like how you speak English, like that it will be there. So is this annoying? Is this annotations annoying to anybody? Just wanted to know your opinion. So it's built. Latest build is over. Yeah. So we got a bad request. You know what is 400? It's a bad request. It's telling method not argument valid exception. So it's telling that it's a bad request. Okay. Now let's go back. I am having an idea. Let's put message required. Okay, let me recompile this. So meanwhile, can you give a idea of status codes? Anybody? HTTP status codes.
200 is successful.
Then
201 is created.
yeah. So yeah. So there are three types of four types. Okay. 200 series, 300 series, 400 series, 500 series. 200 series are like good status codes, something that the client is intending has happened. 300 status codes are like redirecting or the request has not been completed. We are it's taking a momentary redirection. Okay. And 400 series is when client has done something wrong. For example, in this, we are expecting the field suites and category, which is not sent by the client. So we are putting 400. Dude, it's your mistake, not mine. Let's suppose something wrong happens on the server. Okay, it's not something the client is wrong about. Then you send 500 series codes. So there are different ways in which you can mess up the server. So different server codes and different ways in which client can mess up. So different 400 series codes. Unauthorized, if something is mistake from the client, access denied, this stuff. So you can go learn about this more. So let me put this, complete this, weeds, and then yo p, which is weird. Sorry, I do yo, and then I do what else? What else? So category, posting, sorry, self post, post, something wrong. Okay, I don't care. Yeah, so we got it. Okay, so we have the validation happening. So what is the use of this validation is that if something goes wrong, then we are not sending the request to our service layer. Remember, we were adding this validation. So you could tell me that, dude, this is let's suppose I remove the suite thing.
So we are not defining any status code, right? Like the response status code. It's sending on its own.
Yeah, it's sending on its own because that is what it's supposed to do. No, when validation fails.
But usually in JavaScript, we do on it on errands.
We can configure this. We can configure this. Also, you can see that the client doesn't know what went wrong. Correct. So you can
Yes.
send a message here. So all this you can do. It is a little bit. You have to write one more class where you intercept the request response and you can set it. But it is all. It is a little bit out of scope. We want to finish this fast. I'm just doing it. So same validation for category also. Okay. It's done. Now let me recompile this whole thing. Check if everything is working. So I just don't send anything. Okay, I just don't send anything, and I will trigger the send. Yeah, it's coming. Now I send names only. Yeah, bad request. Send all three. It's working. I keep everything, but I send empty. It's working. Okay, so it's working. Now what's the next step? What's the next step?
Now we should store that into our database.
Correct. So before that, we need to send this to a service. So let's create a new service package called service. Oh, it already exists. Okay. Let's create a new class called
Suite. Save
Suite service. Suite service. Okay. Let me go this. This name should be changed. It should be Suite controller. Okay. This should be showed here. It is not required, but it is good. Okay. So I go to Suite service. Again, basic rule of thumb: if you're doing anything, then you have to let Spring Boot know that it's a what it is. So I've let it know that it's service. Okay. Now I need to create let's say I do a list of sweet dog, and I do all sweets. And I do public void save sweet. And I get the
Usually, why are we not using implementations, interfaces rather than?
yeah, we can do that, but again, I have to spend 15 minutes time explaining why that is required. But this should see, my intention here is to get you guys started. Not see, if you get started, then I can tell you what is the best practices to use. Okay, so that's why. But anyways, good question. So this is my save exit. I'm going to take the post exit request. I'll take my post exit request, and then I need to convert it into so sweet DAO. I'll do sweet into new sweet DAO, and then the name should be so you see so post request dot get name. Post request dot get what is the second parameter? It is sweet itself. Sweet post request dot get category. Post request because there's no parent, right? So we'll put null. Okay. Now what I will do is I'll just add all sweets dot append. I forgot. Add sweet DAO. Okay. Now instead of this, let's do public list of sweet DAO.
Get space.
Parent sweets. Okay, and then what I will do is I'll return all sweets dot stream. I'll do dot stream dot filter. Remember we did all these filters. I'll take the
Yes.
sweet and I'll do sweet dot parent get parent weight is equal to null.
So what is the format you're writing there inside the filter? X arrow function.
It's a function. So I'll tell you. So this is a function which it will call for every sweet that is present there, and it will call this function. If the function is true, it will keep it. If the function is returning false, then it will ignore it. So we are going to filter sweets according to this predicate. So if this predicate returns true, then we keep it. Else we don't. Did you get the
So what are
gist?
the identifiers you're using? Like what is X? What is X dot?
So X is the filter needs a predicate. Okay. So if you see here, this X is sweet dog. You see? Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
So I'll write it. It's a sweet. Yeah, it's a sweet. So you just need to. So this filter will call this a function. It needs a function where you will take the sweet and perform some business logic till true or false. Correct. So I'm taking this sweet
So
and
the return
performing.
value of that function will be stored on sweet.
Yeah, this can be also written like this. I'll do this and I'll do this. I'll do return sweet dot is equal to null. You can do like this. Since there are no other statements, I can directly remove this return statement and put it like this.
If there are no sweets at all,
This filter function won't be called. We'll send an empty list.
okay.
Yeah, that the stream function will take care. Okay. Now let's go back to my sweet controller and let's do get mapping. I'll do public. I'll do list of DAOs, sweet DAOs, and I'll do get all sweets. Okay, and then I will return. Okay, yeah, shit. We didn't configure
DA for this.
Yeah, so we didn't configure the service only. So how do you call this particular method from your controller? So what you do here, it's called as a dependency injection. So it's a very broad term. Okay. First I will write it down for you guys. Then I will let you guys know what's happening. So I'll do private. So I'm telling you, whenever you want to declare something, make it private. My controller needs a suite service. Okay, correct? Because my business logic is lying in service. So I do suite service, and this final. Once it is declared, I should not change it. Even internal method should not do. So I'll add it to my constructor. Now what happens is that since I've annotated this with REST controller, okay, you see, since I've annotated this with my REST controller, see there's different types of symbols here. This symbol is a bean symbol. This symbol is an injection symbol. It's a dependency injection symbol. So what's happening here is that in order to create this object, so before how it was happening, I had nothing, I had no constructor defined. So what happens if there are no constructor? We'll have a default constructor, empty constructor. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay, we have a empty constructor. So what Spring Boot was doing that is, it will create a, in behind the scenes, I'll tell you, see what it will do. It will do suite controller. So where suite controller, and then it will do new suite controller, and it will have some logic. So it will do some if endpoint suites get triggered, then call this function suite controller dot get whatever get method. It used to do this. Okay, now we don't have this default constructor. In order to build this, that Spring Boot must pass this service. Okay, service, it must pass a service object. Till here, do you guys understand? Oh,
Yeah,
this won't
we
compile
understood
because
what why we are doing it, but not what you have did there.
okay. What did you not understand in this? Did you understand this one, this part before, like how Spring Boot was managing when you write only controller?
So there will be a default controller.
We have a default constructor. If you don't declare a constructor, there will be a default no args constructor, no argument constructor, which it will create with no problem. But now, in order to create an object of suite controller, you have to use this constructor. In order to use this constructor, you must pass an object of suite service. Okay? Now you can tell me how the heck will Spring Boot know which object to pass here? Correct? Obvious, right?
Yes.
How will it know? Because it will go check this suite service class and it will search for a bean. It will search for a bean. Okay, what happens is that whenever you annotate a class with these annotations, whenever you do annotation like this, it will create a temporary object. It will create that object and keep it handy. Now
Why can't we use Suite service directly, like importing it?
you can't know, it's a class, you need to instantiate it. If you wanted to create if you wanted to import it directly, then this method should be static. See, that's what we don't want to control all this dependency. We want to give the control to we want to give the control to the Spring Boot, so that it will take care of the dependency. So did you get my point?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens now is that whenever you annotate some class with Spring Boot annotations, you see where is this coming from? Spring Framework. It will create this object during runtime. It will keep this. For now, can you tell me what is the constructor for this?
Constructor for this.
No args constructor, because you have not declared anything. So by default, it will be no args constructor.
Okay.
right? So since no X constructor is there, it will create the service automatically. And when you're trying to inject it, here, it will check. See the symbol came. If I click on this, it is automatically going there because there's a bean here. Let's say I remove this. Okay.
What is a bean?
Huh?
What is a bean?
So a bean is a simple object that Spring Boot will create during runtime. So bean is an object that Spring Boot will create during runtime. Whenever you see this symbol, that means this class will be created into an object, converted into an object during runtime. Because a lot of controllers will be depending on the service. Bro, you know what happens in Spring Boot? You just write this controllers. You just write this controller service and repositories. The Spring Boot will take care of this. It will take care of injecting, linking everything with each other. You just need to write them. Okay, you just need to write them. You just need to write controllers. You just need to write services. You just need to write repositories. It will link it with each other. Okay, for now, just think it like that. It will automatically link it. So I will go here. I'll do tweet service.get all tweets. Get parent tweets. Okay. Now we'll go here. Instead of doing this here, I'll do a void. Okay. After creating, I don't need to send any response to my client. So what I'll do is I'll use my tweet service and I will save the tweet. So yeah, I'll save the tweet. So let me recompile this. Okay, it's done. Let me go send this. Okay, what happened? Okay, shit. Okay. Let me recompile this. Okay, let me go here. Trigger this.
It's get right.
It's a post request for now. So send this. So it is 200. Okay, I'll send this again. I'll send this again. I'll send this 3 times. So I'll create a new request. HTTP request. Okay, not from here. I need to create a new request. Add request. So this is going to be same thing. Instead of that, it will be get. Okay, I'm going to do get. So I got three tweets. I sent 3 times. So I got 3 tweets. So this cool. Did you guys understand till here?
Why the ID is null? Because you said it will be automatically generated.
Yes, because for now we are not using any database. If you see, we're using a list of. We're doing it in a private field. We're not saving it on the database. If you go here,
So we didn't touch the DAO yet.
no, we didn't touch the thing yet. So let's go. So if you guys understood till here, we'll go on to repository. So did you guys understand how did these 3 things came into picture? Let's say I do Elon, I do Jaideep, and I'll do instead of sweet, yo, and yeah, we have all this. Let me go ahead and declare one more endpoint where we reply. With controller, okay, and this is reply. So what is the post mapping for reply? So you do post mapping, and then you need a path variable, correct?
Yes.
So you need a
ID.
ID. Actually, we don't have an ID now. Okay, did you guys understand here? We need to integrate a database for this. Any doubts still here?
For now, we'll go with the name.
For now?
We'll go with the name.
No need. We'll go with the ID on it. Don't worry. So just tell me what do you guys think about this? Good. You guys understood how this service and controller communication is happening, so that I can continue to repository.
Yeah, understood.
Okay. About others? Any doubt? Okay, I'm going ahead, assuming that you guys have no doubts. So we need to create a repository. Okay, repository, create a Java class called, it's going to be an interface. I'll tell you why. You need to do, what is it called? Suite repository. Okay, and since it's a repository, I told you for every class or whatever you write, you need to let SpringBoot know that it's special one, not a normal one, normal class. So in this case, we are not going to do any sort of annotation, but we'll do extends JPA repository. Okay, and then you need to tell which is that it is expecting two things. First thing, which is that particular table that you're talking about. So I am talking about SweetDAO, and what is the primary ID for this? The primary ID for this is long. I've created this. Okay, I've done this here. So this is the interface. Okay, it's a Sweet repository. So the repository, the role of a repository is to we will query, we will access. We'll talk to database via methods, but the repository will make sure that it will do all the queries. Okay. Now let's go to my service. Let's swap out the first one. We need to save in this. What should we do in order to access repository? Bro, you can tell me, dude, this is an interface. Who the heck will do the implementations and all? Correct. Spring Boot will do it for us. You just need to write the method. I'll come to that.
Okay. So that's why you have extended it to JPA, already inbuilt implementation.
Yeah. So you do Sweet private final and Sweet repository. Then you do Sweet repository. Then add it to constructor. This will automatically inject. See, this symbol came here. See, this symbol came here. Why did it come here? Because I've extended this with this.
So what are you passing in it?
I need to pass two things: the entity class and the primary ID. Primary ID type.
I mean, on the left side while creating the constructor.
I think whatever fields that is required.
Like, what is the order that you're passing? Like, why are you creating a public Sweet service and passing this?
Bro, this is a constructor, man. It's a public constructor, and these are the parameters that is required to construct the object, Sweet service object. And this is the field setting. It's like how constructors work in Java. It's a normal constructor thing. Remember how we did it in SweetDAO? So you do public SweetDAO, and you have all the parameters taken here, and you do field setting inside. Same thing here. No difference. Okay. So I have my Sweet repository. So I need to save it. How do I save it? So there is a method in your repository. For every repository, you need to do dot save, and then SweetDAO. That's all. Done. That's simple. Now let me recompile this whole thing. Hopefully nothing fails, and we'll be able to see the particular Sweet inside our database. Okay, let me clear the terminal. Let me go to my Postman. Let me post exit. So I'll go there. I'll post exit. Okay, 200. Let me check my logs first. See, Hibernate is the SQL engine which is used in JVM. So I'm doing an insert. Okay, I'm doing an insert.
ORM, right?
Yeah, something like that. So I'm doing insert into suite, and this is the order of where I'm inserting. These are the values. Values are masked. So this is a query that has been run behind the scenes. Now let's go to a database, sweet little database. Let me refresh this. Okay, we have two tables. Why do we have two tables? Can anybody tell? Because of a stupid mistake I did.
We are not seeing it.
No, I changed the name, right? I put table name afterwards. I did the table name afterwards. So the old table
Okay.
remained like that. So I can delete this window. Okay. Now, see? Category SDF, JF, yo, and we have ID1. How cool is it? We have completed this. Okay. Now let's go to get all things. Now here is where we here's a
Exceptions.
here's a like a really cool catch. Okay, how are you going to do this filter? Now tell me, are you going to fetch all the tweets that is present in database, convert into a list, and then so how do you do all means? So you do where
Find.
you do find all. You will do find all sweet dog, and then you do sweets, and then you do repository dot find all. This will give you. But can anybody tell me a better way to do this? Can anybody? So this is useless right now. Let's just run this and check, okay? Afterwards we'll see.
Directly returning the thing.
Why do you want to directly return? There might be child ones also. We don't want to return the child ones here.
Putting the condition.
Okay, first of all, tell me if anybody is not happy with this way of doing. First, let's check if it's working or not. Let's go. This is like get parent sweets. Okay, I'll do send. Okay, we have only one sweet and we got it, and it's a parent one. Okay, now I'll go to my database. I'll insert a new one. Okay, I'll do category is DFD. I'll do the name as 5. I'll do yo-yo, bobo, printed as 1. Okay. Now if I do get it's still giving me this because we have put this logic here. This logic. Now is anybody who is not happy with this logic that is present here? I'll be more than happy to know why. Guys, we should I'll break the thing. We should not do like this because let's just say there are 3 tweets. Sorry, yeah. Let's just say there are 100 parent tweets, and for those 100 parent tweets, we have 50,000 reply tweets. Okay. Now what's happening is that you are reading 50,000 and 100 tweets into your memory, which is so stupid. You don't want to do it in your memory. So when you do find all, every tweet will come to your memory. In your RAM it will be there, in your memory it will be there, and then you're running this logic. Instead, how you can do is that
Separate.
this logic should not be written here. This is a database logic. This is a database logic. You have nothing to do with writing the query here. You're literally writing the query here. You know the where clause, right? So you need to write the database query such a way that you're mixing the service and the repository logic here. This is something that needs to be passed to the database, not in your service layer. Okay. Okay. So let me. So let's write here. So we need a list of sweets. Okay. How do you write this? So you need to just define the method
Parent
definition.
sweets.
Yeah, and it will take care. So I need find all by parent sweet is null. Yeah.
So till now, find all is an inbuilt function, but now you're defining your own function.
Yeah, we need to write it. So we have written it in English. See, we have written it in simple English. behind the scenes, it will write the query for us. So you can do find always parent query parent z is null. Okay. Now I'll do no need of
Where is
all
the
this.
implementation part of it?
It will be implemented automatically. You don't have to take care. Worry about that. So
Okay.
variable. Now all I'm doing is git repository find all parents z is null. Who is writing the query? Repository is doing. You are free. Okay. Now let me compile this one thing. Oh, it's 7:15. I'm feeling so guilty. Okay, let me go to my Postman and get. It's working. It's working as expected. Okay. Now let me write one more. Let me write one more controller endpoint where I do get mapping. So I'll get I need to get all the replies for this particular tweet. So what I need to do is public list of tweet down and then get all replies. Okay, then I'll do return exit service dot get all. I need to add the param, right? So what you need to do is you need to declare a variable called string tweet ID. It's going to be long, right? Tweet ID is long, and you tell this is a path variable. How is it matching? It's the same variable ID. I mean, it's the same name. So you need to do tweet ID, something tweet ID. So it will match with this name, and it will automatically inject the value. So you'll do get all replies, and then you'll pass the exit ID. Since it is not implemented, since the method is not there, it is throwing red. So let's create one. Okay, now what we'll do, return git repository. We'll write the method here. So let's go again, same English. Git dog find all by parent git is find all by parent git. Okay. Now we need to pass the parent git ID. Long parent git forward the syntax. Yeah, we need to pass the parent git. Wait. We can do better here. Find all by parent git ID. No. Okay, you have to do it like this only. Let's just come to this right. Sweep the parent git. So you need to pass the parent git, and it will fetch all the gits. Okay. Now I'll do. First of all, we need to get the parent git for this. So what we'll do is now dot parent git. How will you get the parent git? Again, ask the repository. Dot find by ID. Find by ID. So find by ID, and we need to send the git ID. Okay, and dot get. So this gives an optional one. That means it can be there, it can't be there. Okay, when okay. Let me to get or throw. I think get or throw. Shares. Okay, let's just to get one now for now. No need to overcomplicate this. And then dot find all by parent read and then parent read. Okay, let me recompile this whole thing. Let me go to Postman, and then you request get parent get all replies. Okay, now copy the URL equal to 1. Okay, Let me hit this endpoint. So you see, we've got the tweet, and this is the respective parent tweet for that. Any doubts still in this?
Yeah, no.
So if you see here, there's some complex query. You don't have to really worry. It's working. So yeah. And there's also one more way to do this actually. So one more way is what you can do is you can do list. Sorry, you can do tweet DAO. Yeah, you can do list of tweet DAO. And you can do get all. You can write custom one. Don't follow the English. Okay. Get all replies. And then you can do long tweet parent tweet ID. Okay. Now you can do a query annotation and write the query here. So what you can do select star from tweet DAO where
Sweet Davo is old, right?
tweet DAO is
Old.
no. We have to write it according to our context.
Like you have renamed it.
Our class name, the table inside the DB will be Zwit, but our class name will be Zwitao.
Okay.
It's a class name, not the table name. Okay, now you do where we need to do X Zwit. Let's do Zwit dot parent tweet dot ID is equal to. I forgot how to mention the one
Question mark, yes.
question mark. Okay, yeah. There's one more way. I'm not able to recall it how. So instead of doing all this, you write your own query. Select Zwit. Instead of doing all this, you can do this. Return repository not get all replies. I need to pass the Zwit ID. So this should be parent Zwit ID. Shift F6. Parent Zwit ID. Oh, yep. So let me Shift F10. Rebuild this. So you guys can understand the SQL query, right?
Yes.
So the Lohita or Likita who was studying, who had this in their course curriculum, can you understand what's happening here?
Yeah, I'm following it. Can understand. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. So let me go and test that endpoint now. Yeah, we're getting the same. Okay. So what else is remaining? We have to post a reply. So let's go to controller and do a post reply. So let's do post mapping, and then we need a Zwit ID. Correct. So we need a Zwit ID to which you are posting. Now you need public void post reply. And a public post reply, and then
Request body.
yeah, we need a request body. We need to validate that. I think it's going to be the same body, right? Post create request body.
But there will be ID, right?
ID will be from the path.
So no need of validating it.
Path variable, and this is going to be long, and that is going to be parent Zwit ID. Okay.
But it's not matching.
Yeah. I just Okay. Now we need to send it to service. So service. So I'll just do sweet service dot what was it? Save reply sweet. So for this we need to send the parent sweet ID in the request body. Now go create this method. Yeah, all good. Now first of all you need to check if it is present or not. Okay, this sweet ID is present or not, you need to check before saving. So what you will do, you will do optional. So just bear with me. So what you'll do is you'll do repository dot find by ID, and then you'll do parent git ID, and then let me create a local variable optional parent suite optional parent suite. Okay. Now, if so, this is an optional one. That means it can be there or not there. Correct, right? Some random guy could have maybe someone is trying to reply to a deleted tweet. Agreed. So for this, what I'll do is I'll do a out. No need to send it to client for no need to complicate. We're running out of time anyways. So I'll just do that. Just tell that parent tweet suite does not exist. Okay, and I'll do return. So we're not saying anything. Now, if it is present, then what I'm going to do is then I'm going to create a new suite dog reply suite new suite dog. So request body dot name. Then what is the second parameter? Okay, the second parameter is request body dot suite. The third one is request body dot category. The last one is optional parent read dot get. Okay, so till now we were putting null here, but you see we were putting null. Instead of null, we're just getting whatever we got from database and we're setting it. So after that, what we're gonna do? We're gonna do repository dot save reply suite. Okay, that's a lot of hard work. Let's just check if it's working or not. Okay, let's go to Postman and then save reply exit. We're going to create a new request. Let me just clone this Control D. So this is post reply exit. Okay, this is big suite dot. What do I do variable here? Params, I know. I forgot. Okay, we can do one. Let me go to body and do Puneet. Oh, let's say, okay, yeah, let's just say, yeah, it's done. Let us go and check the console. We got all this. So this one is a select one. That means we're trying to get the parent one, and this one is going to be insert statement that is going to create the new tweet. Okay. So how do you verify this? You do get all replies. You have two replies now. This and this. Let's say I'm trying to post to 15, which does not exist. No reply here, but let me go here. Parent tweet does not exist. Okay. So I think this much is enough for today. Is there anything else that you guys want?
Yeah, at least we understood how to start with Spring Boot
Yeah. Ah,
and connect a database to it,
yeah.
and the project structure to follow.
Okay. So, guys, I'm going to stop my screen. I'll just share this project. I'll optimize this a little bit, and will put it in GitHub, Codex GitHub
That will be
repository.
pasted in comments and also the description of this video.
Yeah. Okay. Nice catch. I am. I am dog tired, bro.
You're forgetting that you're addressing YouTube.
Okay. Uh, YouTube Kaka, all good, bro. Where is browser? Where is my screen? So, guys, how was it? I know it's a little, it's a lot to take in one sitting. Okay? You guys need a lot of patience, and you'll only understand once you
Practice.
try it on your own. Yeah. So, after this session, who should learn Spring Boot? Okay. So, if you're somebody who wants to go into backend and he wants to write clean code, then pick Spring Boot, start coding in Spring Boot. Even though if your backend framework is your favorite backend framework is something else like say Express or Nest.js, you can take these principles that you've learned here and implement it there. Okay. If you're someone who is really not bothered about backend, you're a front end guy and you want to just develop backend applications for the sake of it, then I'm not going to recommend it. But if you are really someone who is keen into getting into backend and learning how to do clean code, no, Spring Boot is great. Is great. So yeah, and it'll make your developer job really easy.
And one important question is why only Spring Boot instead of other frameworks we have?
So there is one alternative to Spring Boot that is called as Nest.js. Nest.js. It is a framework that follows strict coding principles, and guess what? It was inspired from Spring Boot. So it is in TypeScript.
Okay.
So it's not like that. So ultimately, whatever you're doing, you have to do with clean coding practices. So starting out with a strict framework, something like Spring Boot, will sort of teach you those stuff. So also, why we are doing this is we have a student life project, which will be in.
YouTube.
So what?
No context topics.
Yeah. So we have few projects, which are coming up, and it is in Spring Boot. So we want everybody to get comfortable who are interested. So now, I need your honest opinion. What do you think about Spring Boot? I'd love to know if somebody who already has some experience with other frameworks.
I think
Nothing?
all of them here are beginners with the backend.
Okay, no problem.
So let
So
us hear their perception on as their journey to the backend.
yeah,
Yeah, like this was a bit too. I mean, not bit too. Like it was good. I could somewhat catch up with this.
So what about others? Srija, Sanjana, Lohita.
For me, I work on front end, so I really think it's kind of easy and it also replaces almost everything. For me, yeah, it's very beginning. In this all 4 hours, I can tell you I have listened for 3 hours. I'm telling you, I'm not a kid who actually sits and listens to the class for 8 hours and then capture it very easily. I have actively listened for 2.5 hours and 3 hours, and I got a basic knowledge about it. I can't say deep, but yeah, basic knowledge about it.
Yeah, I also agree because if I if if I were to listen to this session without knowing anything about Spring Boot, it will be actually really overwhelming. So yeah, I understand. Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
So if you want, you can go back and learn it on your own. But see, just because we are doing a session, it's not that you have to do it. But if you want to be involved in any projects that club is doing, you have to do it. No choice.
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
So this is
I
like
had
a kickstart for that.
Yeah.
yeah. Before I had a thought of going to backend actually, but then like if there is a need of backend, I thought I would go for backend. But yeah, there are ample amount of people who actually work on backend, so I was like, I'll take front end. But yeah, if I ever take backend, I do listen to this again and go through it again.
Okay, cool. There are better tutorials out there, so you can watch that. So yeah, anyways. So yeah, next, who's gonna next? Who's gonna go next?
Sanjana.
Anything feedback you want to share?
Sanjana, it's your
Yeah.
call.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Let's just end the stream in YouTube.
Okay, some ending quotes for the YouTube fans.
YouTube. Appa. Okay, YouTube fans. How many subscribers you have? 20, 30?
54.
Oh, nice. Out of those, 5 of them will be my family members. so, uh, so yeah, this is not the best tutorial out there for Spring Boot. I just wanted to give my team context of what Spring Boot is. Let's suppose they want to jump in and learn. I just wanted to give them a little bit here and there gibberish terms so that they can go ahead and Google it on their own. So this is not like a full meals. It's just like a snack towards how Spring Boot looks. There's still a plethora of concepts. I'll say there are many tutorials out there. Documentation is really great, so you can refer them. So yeah, this is one kind of a session where we discussed about the technology. So yeah, that's it. And subscribe. That's all. It's okay.
So thank you all.
Yeah. Boy.